Alright, so what do you want to work on today?
I really have been enjoying Earth Spirit lately,
Okay.
and I want to just become more efficient with him, I guess. I mainly play him as a support, but sometimes I'll play him mid or off lane, just depending if we need it.
Okay. So you said you play him support or mid or offlane. Alright.
Yeah, I mostly support since the recent nerfs to him.
Okay. Yeah, I only play him in support, so I guess I can't give too much criticism on how you should change your game if you're mid. But offlane support are kind of similar, at least in how you play him, in my opinion. So let's hop into a replay. Do you have any recent replays of him that you played?
Yeah, I do. I had
Okay.
this one that I played with a couple. So right now I'm at 4.1k MMR,
Okay.
and I usually in my party's like 3.9, and
Mm-hmm.
the friends that I play with in party are like 3.3k, 3.2 ish.
Okay.
Let me send you the replay.
So how do you feel that works out for you when you play support and your MMR is higher than your allies?
Um, I feel like a lot is on me to make huge plays, and sometimes my allies don't really understand that I'm the highest in the game. Everyone's going to be way better than them. So,
Uh huh.
like in the replay, Invoker and Tide are my Q.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes yeah, I can be a little tough queuing with them. So I'd say that my party MMR is basically bound to them because I only queue with them.
Yeah, makes sense. Usually the solution to that when you're playing support and you're the high MMR is you need to get a lot of stuff done early on, and
That's
that
yeah.
that could be ganks, that could be mostly ganks, honestly, mostly movement across the map and ganks. If you just move around the map a lot and create a lot of pressure, it'll pull a lot of pressure from your allies. So
I was
that's what
wondering,
I'd recommend.
is there any way that you could record this so maybe I can watch it later?
I'm
Or
already recording.
all right, excellent, thank you.
I just shared the screen here on Skype, so if you want to see exactly what I'm looking at, you should be able to.
All
Here,
right.
it's going to be kind of low FPS, unfortunately, but um, on the bright side, you can see exactly what I'm pointing at. All right,
Mhm.
first mistake. What do you think is your mistake with your item build here?
Hmm.
You bought all this stuff, right?
Yeah, I did. You know what? I'm not too sure.
All right, you're missing an Orb of Venom. It's super important that you get Orb of Venom
Okay.
because every pro or spirit buys Orb of Venom start almost without exception, I think, unless they're maybe mid. If you're playing
Mm-hmm.
support, you absolutely have to get Orb of Venom start because what it allows you to do is you get Rolling Boulder, and then anywhere within your range of Rolling Boulder, you Rolling Boulder into somebody and you slow them by 80% for 2 seconds, and that gives you more than enough time to right click them at least once. And by doing that, boom, then they get that permanent 12% movement speed reduction. Plus, you're a decently fast hero at 305. Your base damage is okay. So with the Orb of Venom, it really allows you to chase people down. So if you ever find
Mm-hmm.
somebody out of position, you can initiate on them and then always catch up. So you have to start Orb of Venom in most cases.
So would I not get the sentries?
You actually don't. You're not able to afford a lot of this stuff. When I go Earth Spirit support, I get a Orb of Venom, I get one Tango, I get one Clarity Potion, and then I buy either a Fairy Fire or an Ironwood Branch. That's
Mm-hmm.
so it's very low in regen, but the important thing is that with that Orb of Venom, you can pressure lanes so much harder. If you show up mid, like it right now, if hypothetically, if you initiated mid and the enemy hero is like Bloodseeker or something, and he's on this side of the map, you get to attack him like 8 times back to his fountain, plus your hero attacks him the whole time. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
value that you get out of having the Orb of Venom is why Earth Spirit is OP. It's not just because of his skills being really good. It's also because of the fact that he can chase people for so long with Orb of Venom. So that's the first big mistake that you've made. You kind of have to rely on the other support to buy a lot of stuff when you go Orb of Venom start. So if
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, usually you just your other support will have to buy a lot of support things. They'll just have to go heavy regen, like 2 tangos, maybe a clarity potion while buying um, the other stuff. I usually buy courier, by the way. I usually do courier or venom
Mm-hmm.
with tango, clarity, whatever. If your other support wants to be super self-sacrificing, then um, he could go courier plus obs, and you could get something else. I don't know if you saw them place this ward here, but you should have been watching because I
Which
see it
one?
on the map now. It looks like okay, they placed theirs before you placed yours. I think. Oh, maybe not. All right, see right there, he just placed it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see
I
if.
don't know if I had vision of them.
Yeah, it actually doesn't look like you did because these trees apparently blocked him.
What I usually do is go make sure that my pole camp doesn't get warded
Yeah, that's
because I
good.
try to make sure that I get that and get my farm in.
Yep, that's totally fine. I think the fact that you walked there and walked away is no big deal. Alright, you got Rolling Boulder level 1. First thing you're making a small mistake on here is you're not looking at the enemy heroes. You can see them on the map right now, for example. You can see the Rubik's here. But you need to check him, see what his items are, see how close you are for Rolling Boulder, things like that. And you briefly looked at him, but not very long. You've just now clicked on him, and again, you're looking at your heroes again. The place you should be looking right now is not on your heroes. You should be looking right here. This is where your camera should be. So if you look at what you can see, this is all the relevant things. It doesn't frickin' matter where your hero is, because Rolling Boulder is such a big range that you can basically instantly initiate. You should be seeing where they're running to, what kind of pass they're running on. That way you can try to predict your boulder. But you guys basically got... Oh, I guess these are all your guys, obviously. But you should be watching the Rubik. Like, if you had Orb of Venom right now, I would Rolling Boulder on this 100%. Because there might be 2 heroes there, but you could also
We have our whole
force him...
team.
Exactly, and you could force him to use his lift on you or something. And there's no threat to you there. If we look at the full map, there is a hero here. It's the Marana. But honestly, if you guys just went on them, I think you could have done a lot of damage. But you kind of ran back a little bit early, and I think that was a slight mistake. Like, if you're playing our Spirit, you don't have to worry that much about your pull getting blocked, because your hero is a mix of roamer support. He's a lot of roam, honestly.
Okay.
So don't worry as much about the typical support things, because you can get experience by getting kills, basically. So that should be your goal, usually. Alright, so you did a little bit of blocking here. That's great. Alright. So now you got 2 heroes. This is where things get a little bit weird. So what do you normally do? What do you think you're supposed to do if you have a dual lane like this and it's a bottom Rubik?
I would think maybe try to get a Rolling Boulder on the Rubik, or just be pulling.
Okay.
Because bottom's going to be pretty much a difficult kill with the leap.
Well,
but he skilled arrow, so...
Exactly. So you saw the arrow already happen, which means that he's actually a little easier to kill than the Rubik. But the same thing stands. You don't have Orb of Venom, so they're eventually going to be able to get away from you. That's why you need the item. It gives you the ability to chase them down endlessly if they can't escape or stun you. So you need to have that value there. And I would say with you and a Faceless Void, you actually have a pretty tanky dual melee core here. You've got 3 armor, you're fairly survivable, your base strength is ridiculously high, so I think you could actually fight them, definitely.
Okay.
And I think, if not that, like you said, pulling. So if they do have a dual lane or they have a tri-lane that's better than yours, usually the best thing you can do right away is just pull to deny experience. And I think that's fairly okay considering the heroes they have and the hero you have. The Void isn't going to be ultra survivable. He'll be strong, but not like ultra. I like that you stack that because you wouldn't probably be able to pull through without them messing that up. Rubik over here, obviously, and then...
And also, I try to really focus on giving the core the solo lane and giving full experience to them.
That's perfect. That's what you should do. That's exactly right. I would auto-attack this. I assume it looks like you do, which is good, because you're not going to get that many of it, if any. I maybe would have Rolling Bouldered that. It would have done 100 damage for 50 mana. That might have been worth it, actually. If you think about how much AoE, that would have done 600 magic damage. If you just
And probably 2 last hits, too.
Yeah, 2 last hits. Because that's the downside to stacking, is that you don't often kill. So I think I would have Rolling Bouldered through it. You would have gotten at least 2 last hits, and then when you pull it again, it would probably still clear the whole wave. So that's the only thing you did wrong there, in my opinion. But I like the fact that you stacked and pulled, because, again, they're all range heroes. They're probably going to mess you guys up. Void's kind of out of place here. He should be at the...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I don't run over and help him.
Yeah, I like that. And don't worry about... If your core makes a mistake like that, just keep playing the correct game. Don't try not to react too heavily to the bad plays that they make. Because if you would have ran over there to fight, then you would have gotten less last hits over here, and maybe less experience, and all that stuff would have been definitely negative. So, fortunately, you stole a lot of your experience. So far, you're playing this fine. You're basically playing a babysit support here, which I guess you kind of have to do. You could arguably also...
This guy was an arrow magnet.
Yeah, he really was. You could arguably also go roaming as well. Mid was... Actually, I'm not sure who's mid, but you could arguably roam. Did you stone him? Yeah, it looks like you did. If you had Orb of Venom there, the kill would have been a little bit easier. You could be moving between your attacks as well. That's another mistake you just made here. Do you know
So
about
start
attack
moving... Yeah, so I start moving back down towards their tower, or...
Okay, well, towards the direction he's going to run. So right now you hit him, he's slowed. It looks like he's running to the right, boom. Right now you just hit him, you could walk to about here, and then you can hit it again. But instead you're just right-clicking him.
Or block him up or something.
Then when he starts walking away, your hero is positioned as such that as soon as this attack finishes, you're not out of attack range. If you would have been
he would have been dead.
If you would have been attack moving or had an Orb of Venom, he'd be dead right now, boom. Because you would have been starting your animation like right here. You would have attacked him, you would have walked a little bit longer, attacked him again. Instead, he almost got away, honestly, because you don't have Rolling Boulder for a while. And Void doesn't have any other, like, the fact that you got that attack, like, that could have changed the whole laning stage, because he got first blood versus the Rubik getting. So that was not only a mistake of you not having Orb of Venom, but it was also a mistake of the you not attack moving. I'm sure Faces Void could have done something better there as well, but of course you only have control over your movements. So
Right.
alright, so but as a whole you're doing fairly good in the laning stage. I think this has been alright. I would consider pressuring that guy. Again, if you had a Orb of Venom, I would just roll on him. Make him leap, you know? Because his leap cooldown is 30 seconds, your Rolling Boulder is 16 seconds, and it costs you 50 mana. You can easily cast that just to harass the guy. But now that Rubik's back, it's not really the same. So I like that you're going back to playing. That's good. Looks like Void is going to Fast Vanguard, which is going to be pretty nice for the range. So it's a Bloodseeker mid. That's definitely, assuming you had another support to cover the Void here, you probably could have roamed mid on BS when he's like level 3 or something like that. Maybe level 2. Might have been an option.
Whenever I gank mid, I just feel like it doesn't really work out. Maybe it's because I don't have the Orb of Venom.
It's so strong, dude. Like, it is so strong. Like, go watch pro games and see the value. Like, it's kind of hard to see in a pro game because
they always ban him.
They always ban it.
Yeah, I never get to see it.
I mean, you can look up match IDs. Like, go to a website like Dota, for example, or and then go look for Earth Spirit games and pro scenes. Look where the games are. Hopefully, it's a free match. I'm sure there's games. I know they played it at what was that one Chinese tournament? The one that eHome won. I know they played it a lot there. I'm sure they played Earth Spirit games at the Shanghai Major. It's not hard. You basically just like Rolling Boulder's range is so long. You just go anywhere on the mid lane. Basically anywhere here, anywhere here, anywhere here, anywhere here, anywhere around the mid lane, and you can hit a Rolling Boulder because the range is so high. You hit them with the slow. You start attacking them. If you're level 2, you after the slow runs out within 2 seconds, then you boulder them afterwards. And boom, you've already done 200 magic damage at level 2. And you've stunned them for at least 0.75 seconds. And you've done slows with Rolling Boulder and Orb of Venom. It's like he's by far one of the best roaming heroes due to Rolling Boulder and the Orb of Venom. But the only difference is you gotta get it. Like, I promise you're gonna go into a game and try it out, and you're just gonna like Rolling Boulder somebody level 1, and you're gonna get kills. And if you don't, you're gonna do like 400 damage to somebody. Like, you'll do a ridiculous amount. And the only thing I would say about that before we move on is you just have to get good at planning where they're gonna get hits. So. For example, I'm going to watch how this Invoker is CSing, and I'm going to tell you where I would Rolling Boulder. Because let's just assume I'm in range. I would do it right now, boom, right here. Right where he's standing. Because he's about to go for this last hit. I wouldn't have done it before, because he may be moving, he may choose to do something else. But when a creep is within last hit range, you know he's going to stand still and auto attack. So that's when you do your Rolling Boulder. So wait till they're about to go for an auto attack. Or you know where they're going to move, and then you aim your Rolling Boulder. So I would have done my Rolling Boulder right here, because he stood still, and he was about to go for this last hit.
Should I just be aiming at trade even if I end up getting killed off as long as my mid gets a kill?
Only if you kill them first. You should never aim to die first and then your carry gets killed, unless it's like mid or late game and you're behind. You should never do that. In the laning stage, you don't have to. I mean, this is a dangerous place to gank him because like tower range is literally right here, so it's not very safe. But you can definitely pressure heroes. Like if Bloodseeker, let's say Invoker was like here last hitting, that'd be such an easy kill. He's already like. He has boots here, but if he didn't, he'd be like 285 movement speed. And he's got 2 armor. And you'd Rolling Boulder into him. You'd attack him with proper attack moving. You'd probably attack him like 6 times before he got to this point. And you plus Bloodseeker would easily kill him together, for example. It's just really strong room. So same principles kind of applies to your laning stage as well. Just you have huge damage potential. So at this stage, your camp is blocked. Oh, he's got a soul ring. Alright, I guess wasting his mana is a little bit less worth it. But this guy doesn't have boots yet. He does now, I guess.
Yeah, right here I was thinking trying to land a roll on Rubik somehow.
It's not a bad call. The only downside is that Void doesn't have any nukes. He also doesn't have time dilation because he's stupid. So this is kind of dangerous. If you did go in and trade with them, you're going to lose a lot of life. And they have a lot of regen compared to you. So I would actually just ditch the lane at this point, and I would go gank somewhere else. I think you could probably try to set up a gank mid. Killing Bloodseeker is kind of hard, but if he gets a Cold Snap and a Sunstrike,
and he's Blood Raged,
while you're Rolling Boulder into him, you could kill him. I think. Like you don't have to stay in your lane forever, and especially because he is playing Void like a carry here. but he's also going Vanguard, so he's quite survivable in the laning stage, and he's typically an offlane hero, so I honestly think you could ditch this lane. What should happen is you and Enigma should, like, smoke gank mid. That's it. Enigma
Okay.
flies out of smoke with boots. You guys wrap around, you approach from this way, and he casts Malefice the same time that you do Rolling Boulder, and then you just Black Hole Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker dies, you Demonic Convert a melee creep, and you guys take the tower, or do, like, 800 damage to it or something like that. That's exactly what you guys should do right now. It's time to get the Enigma in the game. Once he hits 6, and he's actually leveling quite fast. He did a great job on the jungle. Once you hit 6 with Enigma, you need to rotate. So you should be able to look at the map and say, like, well, I can't really pressure these two guys. I really won't do that much damage to them, so can I do something else? And the solution is mid, and it's not just you, it's with Enigma as well. Or you could go to the offlane, and you've got an anti-mage, and who else is down here? A Venge. You could probably pressure the Venge, especially with Tidehunter being... I mean, he doesn't have a lot of damage, but you can basically roam around the map and go try to get stuff done. Spence Void as a carry. But if you do want to cover Void, you need to bring Enigma over, I think. Or the Void needs to be 6. So, boom, you got the leap out. That's cool and all. Wow, I can't believe that hit you.
Yeah. Let's see, do I kill her? No.
You look fine.
But like you said, I couldn't really get much done there.
Yeah, like, the chances of you getting a kill is just non-existent. And again, it's because you don't have the Orb of Venom. That's the only thing that you're missing here in your game. And you can sell it off later, for example. Oh wow, he actually killed the Enigma. Oh, you got a kill. Looks like you TP'd.
Yeah, I saw him running over.
That's good. And you gave him everything.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to... Well, I have clarity, but I think I really like the kick, pull, roll combo, and maybe I think I use it too often.
Okay. Because that only costs
Like
you
there,
one rock, right?
like I probably should not have.
Well, I mean, you saved a rock doing that, right? Because you punched it out, you pulled it back, and then you rolled through it. So it only costs you one rock to do that. What I probably would have done is I would have dropped a rock and boulder smashed, and then I would have dropped a rock and rolling bouldered into him. So really what you traded was you used 100 mana to save one boulder. And you technically did 50 more geomagnetic grip damage, which is, whatever, useful. So, considering the fact you only have 3 Stone Remnant charges, it's probably not that big of a deal. You could, I could do it my way, you could do it your way. Your way is arguably better, honestly, because you saved a boulder. But considering that you're not close to 6 yet, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it just, if you're 6, then I absolutely advocate for what you did there. That's much better than the way that I usually do it. But I'm not a very
Just
good
to save
player.
the remnants.
Yeah, try to be efficient with your remnants if you can do that combo and if you have the mana to spare. Because you had a clarity, that's 200 mana basically. So you very, very easily got to do that. That you're going to fill back up to full here. So I think what you did was absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. This is a really dead hideout.
Yeah, he was the lowest MMR in the game, so I always worry about him. Okay. He's like, oh, I'm having such a rough lane. So I feel like I need to go help him somehow.
Okay. Actually, the fact that he's level 6 right now, and he's got 700 gold, he's doing amazing in his lane. They really let him get a lot.
Okay.
If you're solo off lane and you're 6th at this point, he's absolutely fine. He's even... The anti-mage actually has a really good last hit, so he hasn't really contested AM, but the fact that he's hit 6 is good. And the fact that he came top to gank with you is really good too, because now you guys can group up and get a kill. Oh, perfect. You smoked and everything. And you got... This is awesome. Like, you're honestly playing this well. You're going to initiate. The only problem you're making here, I think, is that you went directly at them. What I would have either done is I would have ran south to here. That way you get a better angle on them retreating, because if you're here, you're a little bit farther away from their retreat path. Or, while you smoked, assuming you did that earlier, I would have ran into the river and approached from behind. So either from behind or a little bit lower would have been a better approach angle than directly at them, because if you run directly at them, you'll break your smoke a little bit faster. So
okay.
So the way that you guys are trying this gank is kind of tough. If he Chronos too, it's easy. But if he doesn't, if he misses his Chronos, then the gank gets hard. So I don't... Like, this is... Like, you initiated it, but it was very dangerous. That's why this is wrong. And also, geomagnetic gripping here, I think, was a mistake. Because this time, yes, you silenced him, but you're not going to need that extra 2.5 second silence to kill this guy. And yes, again, it saved you a bowler, but you didn't need to. This wasn't a good time to only use one. Like, you guys basically threw literally all your skills except for Chronosphere to kill just a Rubik. And the way that you should have initiated it was a Chronosphere on 2 heroes, followed by a Ravage, and then you guys get an easy double kill. And then
Okay.
as the Ravage is ending, you can silence 2 heroes or Boulder Smash through 2 heroes. That's how you guys should have initiated this. So you have to look at like the pieces that go into a gank. You're doing the right things that set up for the ganks. You did a smoke, you grouped with your ally, you're giving lane pressure and pulling. That part's all great. But now you're just making a slight mistake with how to execute the ganks. And that's going to be the harder part. That'll get you towards 5k.
So I wasn't even communicating with Void at this point. Mostly just, obviously, with the 2 guys I smoked. So I should have been talking to him, saying, hey,
Yeah.
get ready to chrono these guys. Because if we waited, obviously we could have got them both.
Yeah, literally all you had to do was chrono 2 heroes. But you used Ravage, you used all of your mana, and Void jumped in. Didn't use chrono at least. Like, there's no reason for Invoker to even be here, for example. If you're just ganking 2 heroes. You didn't need Invoker. With Ravage and you 3, you guys can easily kill just about any 2 heroes. You're a little weak on damage. That's the only thing you guys are lacking. But it's a Potom and a Rubik, both very, very easy kills here. So you guys definitely went a little overkill on this. The Invoker should have been somewhere else. And the initiation, again, was very dangerous. Like, if you miss the boulder, then everything gets harder. I would have rather you gone on Mirana here. For example, you could have just dropped a boulder and gripped him. So he can't leap. Ravage comes out, then you boulder him afterwards. Boulder smash him. And boom, he's stunned for guaranteed, 2.5 seconds on the silence, and then another 1.75 here. So he'd be disabled for like 4 seconds plus Ravage. You guys could have easily killed the Mirana with that, I think. So I would have just left the Rubik, honestly. Rubik can't do any damage. He's got like no mana. He's not 6 yet. He doesn't have a TP. You could have just ditched the Rubik. The bigger kill would have been the Mirana. Not that she has that much more net worth, but...
He probably would have died anyway.
The Rubik, yeah, he would have died anyways. Or Void uses Chrono. Like, if you guys go on the Mirana instead of the Rubik, then Void's probably going to solo kill the Rubik. He would eventually kill him. He could Chrono him, worst case, you know? Always go for the bigger priority target, if you can. And the only reason you can here is because it's a Mirana and she's low HP. And you've got the solutions to keep her silenced and stuff, so yeah, you definitely overused your mana here, and as you can see, completely out of mana now. So you did all of that for a Rubik, which ultimately, once we look at the net worth or whatever the heck. Come on, if I recap. It was good for you guys. It was definitely good, but it was more than you needed to do. If you guys still had Ravage, for example, or... I mean, you still have Chronos, so you guys can keep pushing, but you're completely out of mana now. Somebody gave you Arcanes, it looks like. And again, you're still being too careful on Stone Remnants. You've got 6 right now. Like, you need to understand when it's right to be crucial on Stone Remnants. And that's a higher level thing than I currently play at for Earth Spirit. But skill-wise, I think you're doing a decent job. You're just doing the same combo repeatedly. You like treads on Earth Spirit?
Yeah, I do. I like it for the extra survivability, and like when I roll in, I'll get more attacks in that do more damage. And when I do tread swap, I feel like it is efficient. And we had arcane boots already.
Yeah, it's definitely efficient. You didn't tread swap here though.
Yeah, that's a key when I do.
Okay, well, if you don't tread swap every time, then you're not getting that same efficiency. So I would kind of lean away towards treads. What's your typical item build on Earth Spirit, by the way?
Usually arcane boots, sometimes veil, blade mail if I need it, or Force Steph blink.
Okay.
Ags if it gets Pudge or something.
And on which games do you get blade mail?
Usually when they don't have like BKB heroes.
Okay, and the goal is you basically roll in, do your ultimate, and then blade mail. That way, if they try to kill you, it just does damage. Is that the idea? Okay.
Yeah, just to keep the focus off me. That way I can keep, dropping in stuns and keep magnetized going.
Okay. This is an area that I don't know very well in Earth Spirit, like what items you get. Basically, in most games I play Earth Spirit, I just go like Tranquil into Veil every game with Wand.
So you don't have mana issues with Tranquil?
I have a little bit of issues early game, like the first 10 minutes, but after that, not really, because then I always have a Wand. I'll always have a Null Talisman at some stage. So the Null Talisman gives you, 6 int or whatever. So yeah, I have mana problems a little bit in the early game, but in the mid to late game, definitely not. Like, it's basically the same as getting treads. Like, I don't think Arcanes on Earth Spirit is ever really good unless you get mech. That's the only time that I would justify it. Because you just don't cast spells that much.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I definitely do get mech quite often with them. Because the Guardian Greaves to purge off any silences or anything.
In which case, yeah, that's fine to get Arcanes. But at the very least, you should probably have a Wand, I think. At the very least. I also didn't like the fact that you TP'd the bot lane here. This didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, I noticed I try to get a lot of levels and last hits where I can, so I see an empty lane down there, and I know my Tidehunter was saying that it was a difficult lane, so I'm like, okay, you know what, I'll take it over.
I mean, That's true. It is a difficult lane. Also, you didn't tread swap for the TP scroll. Another thing. So yeah, you got 6 out of this, and that's cool. But I feel like pressuring for kills is a lot more important. Like right now, Bloodseeker's pushing mid. You've got an Invoker shifting over. If you would have TP'd the mid tier 2, for example, walked over here and then done a rolling boulder into this Bloodseeker, maybe you kill him. Yeah, you got a level down here. Yes, you got a couple last hits. Maybe you kept the tower alive longer. But that's way less useful than getting a kill is mid. Kills should be your priority generally with Earth Spirit, especially when you have your ultimate. Well, I guess you didn't have your ultimate yet, but with 3 Boulder Smash and a Rolling Boulder and an Orb of Venom, you could definitely kill this guy. He's very tanky, but Invoker's Exort Quas, so as long as he lands his Sunstrike, you should be able to get this kill. And maybe it gets dangerous, maybe he ruptures you or something like that, but you've got ways to disable that, you know, just Boulder Smash him and hit him and see who dies first kind of a thing. I feel like you could do more. And
I have treads too, so I hit pretty hard.
Yeah, you hit hard and you hit fast, so I think that would have been more valuable for your time. So when I've run into this trouble a lot when playing support as well. I just get in, I say, oh, there's an open lane and experience, I'm behind, therefore I need to go get that. But it's usually better to get your gold than your experience from getting hero kills, not from sapping a lane. The only time it's worth it to sap a lane usually is if it's like ultra early in the game and you feel like you can get levels for free. Like if the wave pushes in early and you wanted to show up, nuke the wave once and then take like 2 waves of experience. That's like the only time I would say it's worth it. Usually proactive ganks are much, much better.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that I really need to improve on then, because I do find myself just farming on Earth Spirit a lot. Because I want to get those core items like the urn and
exactly. You don't need to do
else
that.
I need.
You can get that from kills. Once you're 6 like this, boom, get a kill somewhere. You need to get a kill. And look, now Bloodseeker got a kill on Tidehunter top. And I guarantee that if you would have killed him mid, he wouldn't have this kill. Or he would use Rupture on you. Or somebody else. And then boom, Tidehunter doesn't get a kill top. So because you went passive here, the guy that you very easily could have ganked now gets a kill, which gives him 228 gold, which lowers Tidehunter's gold. So do you see how big the impact is? It's not just about your gold and the gold that you get from either killing him versus farming. It's now the difference of Bloodseeker getting a kill, Tidehunter getting killed, you not getting a kill, you getting like 4 last hits in a level, tops 4 last hits. You didn't get much down there. And maybe you kept the tower alive for a little bit. Like when you're playing Earth Spirit, it's all about fighting, dude. You really shouldn't be farming much.
Okay.
You should almost never farm on this hero. It's especially if your ultimate's up and you've got stone remnants, then you can easily get stuff done. So you're still in lane again. Ditch, go heal, TP to the top lane, go take a fight. You've got Black Hole, you've got Chronosphere. Okay, and you don't have a TP scroll here, by the way. So this whole fight you could have been here. And it would have been really good for you guys. Like, it still worked out. You got 2 kills. But it got a little scary. And it could have been 3 kills, maybe. So you went bot. You got, like, 5 last hits. You accomplished almost nothing there. You also got 2 gauntlets of strength. You're not giving yourself any kind of mana regen at all. And, like, you see how inefficient you've been the last... You were like, level 5 at 8 minutes. 8.5 minutes. It's now 11:30. You've only gotten a level and a half. And you've gotten, like, 10 last hits.
Right.
If you get 2 kills, you're the same level and probably just as much gold. And the fact that you went two gauntlets here, I think, is also a mistake. You're really tanky right now. I can see that. I'm never this tanky at this stage, but you could have a wand instead of this. And a wand would give you almost as much strength. It'd give you 4 instead of 6, and it would give you 4 agility and 4 intelligence. And if they cast spells, you have more mana. Like if you cast any of your spells, you're just completely out of mana. Assuming, I mean, you could tread swap obviously, and then you have a lot more, but you don't have any way to regen your mana. You don't have any way to stay on the map other than going back to base. That's just not efficient, and you're still farming. And it's 4 minutes. You had a great first 8 minutes, honestly, but now you've had a really bad 4 minutes. Like 4 minutes where you did nothing for your team. Your MMR right now has done nothing. A 2K player could have done what you just did in the last 4 minutes. But instead, you could have gone kill after kill after kill. Bloodseeker now gets another double kill, and now he's going to have Shadowblade soon. When instead, he could be like 0-3 and 2 right now. Or 1-3 and 2 instead of 4-2 and 2. All because you didn't put pressure on him, you didn't look for ganks, and now he's got Shadowblade, so now it's even harder to gank him in the future. Like, all of those things snowball massively to make the game more difficult for you. So,
yeah, I can really see that.
Good. So what I would do at this stage is you need to organize a kill on the Anti-Mage. Easily. He's got Battle Fury, it's 12 minutes, it's really fast, he's insanely farmed right now. You guys have to gank this guy. And the easiest way to do it is probably Chronosphere or Invoker U +1. So you'd probably need Ravage or Black Hole to kill him. And you don't really have a lot of those options, which kind of sucks. But you can kill him. He's only got 800 HP. If you get like a Sunstrike, I mean Sunstrike alone is going to do like, that's like a third of his HP or something. So I would say you'd probably need 3 heroes total because you're all magic damage. But you can disable him for a long time. 2.25 second stun, 2.5 second silence. That's enough time to potentially get a kill. But it's kind of hard because your 3 heroes that help with kills have giant teamfight ultimates and they have weak disables other than that. So once you have those, you should organize a gank. And that's something you need to do as the higher MMR player. You say, I want to gank this anti-mage. And again, think back to what we could have done instead. You could have ganked Bloodseeker here mid when he pushed, kill him there. You get 6 off that, go heal, and you say, guys, let's go gank the anti-mage. Buy a smoke, bring Enigma with you and Invoker, you 3 smoke, or you could do Faceless Void instead of Enigma. Either one of those 2 would be necessary. Because Tide is a stun, but it's not that much damage against him. Actually, it's pretty good. Because he has minus armor here, and he has physical damage on Anchor. But you'd basically need 3 people, because you need more stuns. Smoke, go bottom, kill Anti-Mage, boom. Battle Fury is delayed. Bloodseeker shut down. Anti-Mage is now pressured. Anti-Mage will TP back to lane. Maybe you guys kill him again, you know? And then all of a sudden the game becomes easy. But instead you guys went passive for 4 minutes, did nothing on the map other than take mediocre fights. And because you weren't proactive, because you didn't ask your team to be proactive, the game got harder. And now the game's hard. So,
yeah, this game got real hard.
So your early game was great, but your 8 to 12 minute mark has been awful. So that's probably what you're going to have to focus on. It's about transitioning your early advantage into more and more ganks. And you did okay, considering you didn't have an Orb of Venom. But if you had an Orb of Venom and you had that same early game, then you would have at least 1 or 2 more kills, I think. And then you would have transitioned in the mid game with 2 or 3 more kills, and all of a sudden you're like 5-0-2 or 5-0-3, and you're like, wow, I'm really farmed as support. Then you buy your Urn, your Wand, your Veil, whatever, and then you just keep solo killing people for the rest of the game. You can solo kill any of these heroes. You can kill 3 of them at least. Basically,
so
I about BS and AM, I think.
At this point, should I say forget bot? If he takes a tower, so what? Or just TP when it's low to deny it?
That's the problem. You can't constantly just sit here for the whole game. If you just sit here at the tier 1 tower for the whole game, you're right, that tower's never going to die. But think how much time you're using to do that.
Yeah, I've wasted like 4 minutes at least.
Exactly. So the better thing that you should do is show up sometimes. If you show up sometimes, he's not going to feel comfortable to go all in. If you sometimes show up with 3 heroes and kill him, then he says the same thing. Wow, I'm underfarmed. I need to go back to the jungle to farm, because obviously pushing the tower is dangerous. So that's the best way to get efficiency. You make sure your opponents don't know where you are. So by showing bottom and constantly sitting bottom, they always knew you were there. That meant they were comfortable to gank you top. They could check to see, oh, he doesn't have a TP, he only has treads, so I'm going to dive top. And they almost got kills out of that, for example. So if you just show up sometimes, if there's like a double wave and they're pushing with 3 heroes, you guys should show up and counter push. But once that ends, you should look for a fight somewhere where you have an advantage, get kills, and then go somewhere else and get a kill, and then go somewhere else and get a kill. And all of a sudden, Anti-Mage has to worry about pushing tower, and then he sits in his jungle instead. His farm decreases. He's not as good at AFK farm with just Battle Fury, for example. So then you would be able to get advantage. So, but you didn't really do that. You just kept going to your lane. Like standing at a tower is making you a tower. Like you're essentially a super creep. That's all you're doing. You need skills to kill heroes. That's the real value in all Dota heroes, in almost all cases, is killing heroes versus just AFK defending a tower. So we'll see how long you stayed on here. Keep in mind that you again did TP back to, you walked back to base to heal, then you TP'd all the way back down again to defend. So yeah, you got your Urn, but you basically, honestly, you farmed an Urn, a Town Portal Scroll, and 3 wards and a dust in 5 minutes. That's so bad. Like,
not efficient.
It's so not efficient. What's your GPM right now? Your GPM is 243. That's terrible. That's like barely higher than AFKing. Like you accomplished almost nothing on the bot lane. If you get a kill, boom, you get 200 gold. That's already a fourth of an Urn. And then you can push waves, and then you can take a tower. Like you could be mid right now pushing with Enigma, for example, and your Invoker. That would be 3 heroes pushing mid with Eidolons. If they try to defend, you guys can black hole it, or you can initiate and take a fight. Boom, get a kill, take a tower, your team has gold advantage. Instead, all you're doing is preventing them from taking your tower. That's just not good resource gain. You want to gain resources over them, not just prevent them from taking some resources. So that's, gank killing is the easiest way to do it. Now's a good time for you to be at the tower. There's 2 heroes here. Alright, if you get a kill, this is great. Alright, you guys are probably going to get a kill. Again, the same thing here, you're a little greedy on You keep being greedy on your stone. Personally, when I'm going on AM, I would maybe consider just rolling boulder into him, and then once it hits, then you stun. I'm sure you can do that fast enough, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you basically went to stun the AM, but you got lucky on the Vengeful Spirit. Every approach that you have is not very likely, but they keep kind of working out due to luck. At least a few of them have. Like, again, you saved a boulder, but what happens if he runs to the side? Then your rolling boulder misses, and he might have to Chronosphere.
I think I'm just too confident in my gameplay with him that I just feel like I'm never gonna miss any combos because I've practiced them pretty often.
Okay.
But like you said, I think rolling boulder in and then I can stun him under the tower would be a much better combo.
Yeah, and then you could possibly kill Anti-Mage, because then he could Chronosphere him afterwards, for example.
Right.
So, fight that's not looking very good here. Alright. And unfortunately you're out of mana.
Because I blew it all bottom.
Yep. And you also blew it by using Geomagnetic Grip there. That was 100 extra mana that you didn't need to use, because you saved a boulder. What would you rather have in that fight just now? 100 mana or an extra boulder? And the reality is you needed
100
enough,
mana.
exactly, to get the boulder smash.
Because I could have boulder smashed and then triggered magnetize again.
Yeah. I like that you can do that combo. That's something that I need to practice personally and get better at. But I'm better at other aspects of my Earth Spirit that are also important. So you're missing the rotations, you're missing the effective initiation, the high chance initiations. But you've got the combos down. But the hero's not all combos. It's also decision making, and it's also getting into the mid game for mana. And you still don't have a wand. If you had a wand there, I guarantee you would have had mana as well.
And I'm back farming AFK again.
Yep, exactly. Which, you've got your ulti in 10 seconds. You can go set up for something. You could smoke with like 2 heroes. Looks like you're about to get Rupture initiated, for example. And this is another thing that's bad about passive farming. Boom, now you're Ruptured. I mean, you did pretty well here, but imagine if you did that in a gank. Like, that was you getting initiated on. If you did that in a gank, you killed like, almost killed their 2 most farmed heroes other than the AM. Like, that was good, but you needed to go do that somewhere. You can't just like wait for them to initiate on you, because then it gives them such a better chance to kill you. And this guy's so slow.
I've never seen this Vanguard build before this.
Oh, it's a build that Wagamama invented.
Yeah, I actually ended up asking him.
Oh, this guy? Okay. Yeah, you go Vanguard into Radiance. It actually has some good merits. Like, if you take something like Time Walk, where you reset your damage and you increase your total HP, then Time Walk gets better by far, because then you can tank more nukes and backtrack it. Whereas the Void offlane, it's definitely very effective and it's very hard to kill, but its main benefit is definitely time dilation and Chronosphere. When you go to this build, I think it's very smart, I think. I don't think it's maybe top tier, but I think it's a smart build. I like the Vanguard on him. I think it's if you're playing carry, I think it's cool. The slightly higher extra HP is really useful, even against nukes. That's why.
Yeah, he got pretty tanky in the mid to late game.
Yeah, because of that. If you can play around your opponents pretty easily with it. All right, you TP'd back from base, or you walk back from base after reviving. What do you do now? Looks like you're. I'm
thinking ward. Usually, I like to use the smokes just to get the wards down, because I always find myself getting caught out placing the wards because I don't know where they have theirs.
Okay.
Do you think that's an efficient way to use the smoke, or should I bring a team?
You shouldn't just smoke to put a ward down. You should smoke to get a ward down while you're ganking. So, for example, if you wanted to gank Anti-Mage, you could pop smoke here. You probably don't have a ward here. You walk all the way over here. You walk in lane. Do you see how that's efficient?
You get vision, and then you're gonna kill the AM.
Well, and if you don't kill the AM, at least you got a ward down. But if you just smoke and run straight at people, then you might not have. If you miss the gank, then you completely wasted the smoke. If you get the ward down and you gank at the same time, then it's better. So, for example, if I was going to smoke right now to ward, what I would do is I would probably smoke with, like, Invoker. Again, you need to group up with people. If you've got Ravage, go take a fight. Smoke with Tidehunter, run to where Enigma is, see if Anti-Mage shows up. Actually, that's probably what I'd do. I'd get Tidehunter to come over here, smoke with him. You guys run to the enemy jungle, get a ward down, like, here, or here, or here. And then Enigma pushes up the lane, and then whoever comes to defend the tower here, you just jump out from the trees and you kill him. Rolling boulder into him, into a boulder smash, boom, he dies. Could be AM, could be a support, doesn't matter. You kill anybody. That's what you should have done right now. Instead, you walked mid, you pushed the wave, you used 200 of your mana here. You did Tread Switch, so that's good, but you're still out of mana. They actually do a smoke to do stuff. This is how you should be using smokes. Do smokes to get things done. You did break the smoke. That's good. This is good. I think you played that well. But now you're really low on mana, and you still have a wand. You've got all these other items which are great. It's good that you have dust and stuff like that. I would probably prioritize sentries though, usually, because kind of depends. If you're initiating Potamol, or dust is fine against Potamol. If you're pushing a tower, you need sentries. So if you guys do push this, you would have to put a sentry here and maybe over here. That way you could spot if they're walking in Potamol did. And again, back to mid to farm. Still not getting value out of your hero.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Alright, you're putting some wards down. That's good at least. They already got the tower bottom. You could have been there for that, for example. Maybe everybody could have. Void did not have a TP. He's finishing his relic.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, this is just like 2 supports and a bottom. I think you guys could have denied that, honestly. Or at least killed one of those heroes. You didn't really know where all their heroes were, but...
Could probably figure AM's farming.
Yeah, you guys could have potentially ganked him, but again, you're kind of limited by stuns and cooldowns. You just don't... Like, I wish that rather than like a Tide or an Invoker, that you just had a reliable stun that was fairly low cooldown. That way you plus any other hero could kill any other hero, 100%. On low cooldowns. But once you're relying on Chronospheres, we have cooldown and stuff like that, it's just a little bit of a... It's a little bit delayed here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh yeah, here I tried to set up for a gank on AM, calling out for a Sunstrike, but it's actually on cooldown.
And here you stack your abilities a little bit too. This is the other problem with the combo you're doing, is that while they're stunned, they're also silenced. So let's look at the timers here. Boom. Alright, look at that. See those 2 things?
Yeah. He's stunned in silence, and there's no sense in that.
Boom. This is where the stun ends. And the slow, by the way. You've got the slow going for about 1.5 seconds left. So while he's stunned, he's also silenced. And of his remaining silence, he's got probably like 2 seconds max. So yeah, you just did a lot of damage to him. But you easily could have killed... I think you could have solo killed this guy, honestly.
If I played it right.
But the way that you had to do it would have been really expensive stone-wise. You either had to rolling in and then do a punch. Either way, it's going to cost you 3 stones. What you just did cost you 1 stone. Very efficient to get your damage out. Not efficient for disable. So what you should have done was punch through, start a roll, do another stone remnant, hit him, start slapping him, cast your ultimate right away, and then as soon as the stun ends, that's when you silence him. That would guarantee you having 6 seconds of disable. 6 seconds of you hitting him with Magnetize, so you could refresh Magnetize at least once, which does an extra 300 damage. So you do 600 damage with Magnetize, you do 200 damage with Boulder Smash, you do 150 with Geomagnetic Grip, and you do 100 here. So that's like 250, 450, plus 1,000. You would have done 1,500 magic damage at AM. You definitely would have killed him, with right clicks, by the way, and 6 seconds of disable. But you went the low stone. You still got 5 stones. Like, your Magnetize is going to be on cooldown. You don't need 5 stones unless you're in a big team fight. You easily should have prioritized max disable. When you're playing against an AM or a Quap or a Faceless Void, it's all about max disable. If they are hard to kill, it's always about max disable. Don't worry about stones. Like, I do not use stones well, and I'm rarely out of stones. Like, you're playing max efficiency on stone, you really don't need to. Like, I am so sloppy with my stones. I almost always use 1 stone per skill. I just don't plan it ahead. But I still am almost never out of stones. It happens sometimes, and I could...
Yeah, they regen pretty fast, to be honest.
Yeah, like, you can... Unless you're, like... If you're playing, like, 10v10 Dota or something, yeah, you need to be really efficient with your stones. But you are wasting too much mana and not enough stun duration. Because you're not going to kill this guy. He could have been stunned for an extra, like, 3 seconds here. Although he does have Vlads, so it was kind of hard for you to kill him here. But look
well, the reason I went in was because the Sunstrike. I asked for it, but it wasn't there. But like you're saying...
That's a good point. That's a really good point. If you had Sunstrike, what you did was fine. You would have killed him. You definitely would have killed him with that, I think. Sunstrike would have been like, what? It would have been close. He probably wouldn't have died. But it's like the same thing if you would have coordinated this with Enigma. Like, Enigma was not far away. You did ping him. I don't know if he's listening to you or not. But if Pussy Slayer 69, he's got a Blink Dagger, for God's sake. You could have initiated into a Blink Black Hole. Boom, he dies.
Or Malefice or
or
anything. Really.
Malefice, or Midnight Pulse, or a billion other things. If you just coordinate, you just gotta coordinate. At low MMRs, it's super important that you talk to your teammates and be like, guys, this is what we're doing. I'm gonna initiate. We're gonna kill this guy. Anti-mage here, come over. And if you just talk it out and you plan it out just a little bit, the game gets so much easier. Cause boom, that's a dead anti-mage. You could have killed him by yourself if you were safer. You could have killed him with Enigma. Like, always just make sure that you have a little bit more than enough, at least, damage to kill somebody, and then go for it. You have to organize that. It's the most frustrating thing that I find when I play with, like, 3 to 4K players, is people just say, oh, I thought I could have solo killed him. If you just, like, organize with somebody else and go in the same time as somebody else, he dies every fucking time. Unless somebody misses a skill. Like,
Yeah.
every time he dies. You just gotta coordinate a little bit and plan ahead a little bit. Super simple. You almost died to Sunstrike either way. But I like that you guys have a lot of wards down here, but again, now you're out of mana, unfortunately. So you're gonna
Yeah,
have
back to base.
yeah, back to base. See what you get now. More support items. That's okay. I would probably start working on the Veil. I think it's a decent Veil game, especially with Bloodseeker. You guys have quite a bit of magic damage. Back to farming again. If you come over here, I just would immediately boulder smash one of the creeps. Just do a little damage, maybe roll through. Like, you kind of did this, but you could have done a little bit faster, and then you could have grouped and gone for a push with your team. You could be sitting mid, get one of these kills. You could smoke top with a hero, try to get a kill with the Void, for example. That would have been better. I think this Void just stands still. Yeah, that's... well... Bloodseeker's really not that good against Void, is he?
No, that backtrack's too strong.
Yeah, that was really not in any way dangerous to him. Is that the Bloodseeker counter? Carry Void?
And I think the Vanguard helps too, because he can't really right-click you down much.
Yeah, it definitely blocks a lot. 32 of every hit. It's not terrible. So let's see what you're doing now. Still
I
farming.
remember getting really kind of tilted, because I know this AM was super farmed. So I think this is when I started performing. Well, I mean, I have been wasting a lot of time, but I remember the mid game not going so good.
Okay. You've got about 2,000 gold right now, and you haven't spent it either. So, but honestly, your problems are early game. Like, if you guys had 10 more kills in your advantage, and you killed the anti-mage like 2 more times and Bloodseeker like 2 more times, the game would be over. Because you guys would group up. Your Void would already have a Radiance instead of at 23 minutes. Not that he got out super late or anything, but your team's insanely farmed. Like, everybody has a lot. Even Tide has a Blink Dagger. You said this guy is not a super high level player. So he's got Blink Dagger. And Voker's got really good items. He's almost got Hex. You could have, like, Veil right now easily if you guys had been more coordinative. Is that a word? If you had coordinated a bit more in the early game. And then gotten a bunch of kills, taken more tower. Like, you guys are equal on towers to them. And nobody's taken Rosh yet. If you just pressured a little bit harder and won the early game a little bit harder, you would have translated into the mid game and just stomped them. And now, because you don't have this tier 1 tower, Enigma's going to die. If there was a tower, you could have TP'd, rolled over, and possibly saved him, for example. He just needs to mech TP. Okay, good, he did. So, I don't think we should look at this game anymore. Let's poke through another replay really quick. I think we could look at a lot of good stuff. I think you have plenty of potential on Earth Spirit. You just need to be more coordinated with your ganks and space your abilities a bit more and buy Orb of Venom, and you're going to be fine, I think. So what's going to be another match idea?
Let me try to find a loss, maybe.
It doesn't matter that much, honestly. Like, we don't... In most cases, we don't watch the game past 20 minutes. It's just not worth it. Like, unless we're... If you play the first, like, 20 minutes relatively well, like, if you're, like, a 5K player, we could spend small amounts of time on the early game, because you're probably doing everything relatively well. But you messed up a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of game theory things that you played wrong, so I don't even think it's worth looking at the late game scenarios, really. It's kind of like the game is... In some ways, Dota is the same at 10 minutes as it is at 40 minutes. Your purpose is to move around the map, pressure heroes, get kills, and then that will lead to Roches, towers, good team fights. But you're not doing the setting up ganks well. So once you get that down, then you'll be able to continue doing that throughout the entire game, basically.
Alright, I sent you another ID.
That's good. Okay. Alright, so you got Ags this game. I think you're missing a Blink or a Force here. If you got Ags, I kind of feel like you need that now, personally. Not that I honestly, I've barely explored late game or spirit. I just like get a veil and then I don't know what to do afterwards most of the time.
Usually I pick up the axe when there's a Pudge on the other team because I just find my team gets hooked and then I can
And
just
then you
pull
pull
them
back,
right back.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just unfair.
I forgot about that thing. That's a really good point.
Which I think I do end up utilizing quite a bit.
Okay. I always forget about that change. I only think about the super remnant thing.
Which I think has gone awful now that it's super low range.
Yeah, it'd be better if you had a blink dagger, I think, or a force maybe.
Prepare for battle.
It's pretty good with Legion Commander, but that's only against him, sort of. Alright, so looks like you went similar support items, getting missing Orb of Venom, obviously. Okay, that's a level 1 gank here.
And
Alright,
I probably could roll right away.
Yep, exactly. Once he's this close to you in rot, you have to roll right now. Because once he does get in rot range, then he's going to block you, obviously. Yep.
I've never had this happen before in a game. They all 5-man smoke.
Yeah, it's one way to try to raise your MMR. Gives you a slightly better early game, but it's kind of a it's kind of irrelevant. Okay, that was really incredible. Alright, let's go to the lane. Double ward. I think you guys both blocked here, by the way. I don't know if you did that on purpose, but
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I think this blocks. It's pretty close. You keep stacking the small camp. I don't know if I recommend that, to be honest. If it's just a solo offlaner, your goal should basically be to zone them. Because there's two, it gets kind of weird again. But I kind of feel like you guys can kill Pudge, honestly. He's only got boots, he has no regen. If you guys, well, I guess it won't work with Flame Guard because it'd get broken right away. But Pudge is 0 armor, like you can right-click him, I think. If you had Orb of Venom, I would just kill the Pudge right now, is what I would do. Or you could kill Wind Ranger because she used Shackle earlier. Either one of them are actually very easy kills. One of you would definitely die, but you guys could get the kill first. So hypothetically, I think I would just come over here and fight. Seems like you keep having junglers be the issue a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you stack like this, it will limit your experience gain a little bit. I just think you did this a little early. I maybe would have gone to lane first and tried to zone a little bit before I go to do what you did. And again, right here, you should be going in. Like, you're already a little bit late. If you had Orb of Venom, this guy's 100% dead. He's gonna die, but it could have been a little bit easier. Wow, she did so much damage to that guy. I would have gone in right here. Honestly, see, last hit right now. He was gonna go for either this one or this deny. You could have bouldered him right there, and instead, what happened is they got a bunch of right clicks in on their Ember Spirit for free. You eventually did catch the Pudge, but see how much like harder that was.
Yeah.
If the Pudge was here instead, this creep wave wouldn't have gotten to you as fast. Ember Spirit wouldn't have been right clicked 2 or 3 times by Wind Ranger to lead up to this point. Then when you killed Pudge, Ember Spirit would have still been here. Then you could have just tried to kill the Wind Ranger. Instead, Ember Spirit died because of this. You just went a little bit late, basically. And also hold your attacks next time, that way as he gets within last hit range, you can kill him. He pops Salve like ultra late too, unfortunately. So just a little bit late. And again, this is delayed because you stack the camp. The number one thing you have to do is read the lane, basically, and then you decide what to do. So maybe you'll miss the first stack, the easiest stack, but... Or what you could have done is you could have stacked left. Like, stack it to the left rather than stacking up. That way it's faster going back to the lane.
Okay.
But level
Because I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like there's just very minimal time for me to get over to the stack, and I always want to get that right away at the first stack.
Yeah, honestly, I just don't like stacking the small camp most of the time. I think it was good the last game because they had a better dual lane than you. But a level 1 Pudge and a level 1 Wind Ranger, you shouldn't fear them. Especially if she has Shackle. Like, Pudge level 1 is... Everybody thinks he's way scarier than he really is. He's not that scary. You just have to kill him before he kills you. And usually that's not hard.
And I didn't realize he has 0 armor, too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of HP, but he has very low armor. He always has low armor. Checking rune, that's good. Pudge still hanging out over here. He is level 2 now, so he's got, what, 90 pure damage. Yeah. You missed your pull here. I think what you should have done instead of running around is actually used a boulder. You could have ran to here, bouldered over here without using a stone, and then you could have started your pull. So boom, you miss a pull, that means 1 extra wave of experience going to these guys, and now your lane gets really hard. Because now they've gotten all this experience. Wind Ranger's 3, Pudge is almost 3, Ember Spirit's 2. You're level 2 as well, but Now they have a level advantage against you guys. They have items advantages because they've killed you a bunch. Now is where you guys messed up the lane, basically. You needed to win that dual lane, or you needed to get your pull started right away. And they also did a side pull, which is further going to limit the experience. So now you guys are kind of just getting outmaneuvered in the laning stage, and that's because of how the early things went. And it literally just came down to the fact that you initiated a little bit late, that you went to stack rather than going to fight right away, and that you didn't have Orb of Venom. If you did those three things right, boom, you could get a double kill. And for sure, Ember Spirit wouldn't have died. And then Ember Spirit would have had boots, most likely. And then the lane wouldn't have gone hard. But now the lane got hard. So you got to react to the lane very rapidly in the correct way. And you didn't do that. So it's kind of hard to like always know, for me to basically teach you something right now that's going to allow you to say, I know when to go in. But at the very least, you should look at the heroes and think about what skill they have at level 1, because that will influence it, what items they have at level 1, and what are attributes of their hero that they have. Pudge is low
Yeah,
armor,
especially
HP.
because of the Shackle level 1, when Ranger's the easiest kill.
Yeah, low armor. She has like very, very low armor. She has 2 right now, but she has a bunch of stat stuff, or a little bit of stat stuff. She has like 1 or 2 armor. She has very low HP. Just kill her. Pudge can't stop it. He can slow you guys moving, but if you have Orb of Venom, you guys would have just chased her down and killed her. Easy. And then killed Pudge afterwards, or vice versa. Either one. So that's where you guys mess up your lane. Now things are hard. Now you're going to have to pull to deny experience to get your Ember Spirit gold and stuff like that. But it would have been a whole lot easier. Like, Earth Spirit is like the best level 1 support for these reasons, because of Rolling Boulder and Orb of Venom. It just gives you so much stupid advantage. As long as you guys get that guy, okay, that'll be okay. The fact that you guys were able to get these is pretty important. Alright, good push. Looks like you are going to have to roll through. That's good. Okay, you can kill him now. Alright, that was good. I think you using your mana there was fine as well. Again, if you had Orb of Venom right here, maybe could have killed him, honestly. At the very least, you would have forced out a wind run. 100 mana
Which
less.
is, yeah, huge mana.
Yeah, exactly. Would have made a huge difference. Again, these do block, I'm pretty sure. We'll find out in a moment, but... Again, I wouldn't do it here because your mana is empty, but you could have Rolling Bouldered through. Just a little Rolling Boulder. This would be a great time for a Clarity Potion. I don't know why'd you punch that? Oh, you were worried about him diving, I guess.
Yeah, I was worried about the power shot.
I don't know why you went back here. You had a Clarity Potion, could have filled your mana up, your HP's full. Like, both of you guys could have been... If you're worried about nobody getting experience in lane, this is the time you should be worried about it. That was 3 creeps that you could have full experience for. Alright, you went mid. Alright, I like that combo. That combo is good. And the only reason I think that one was worth it is because it was against a puck.
But I think Medusa doesn't really have a whole lot of kill potential.
Mr. Silence. Oh, it's just...
Level 1.
Yeah, it just went out fast. It's like the same thing as when you tried to get the anti-mage, the disable stacked a little bit. That's all.
So what should I have done in that situation?
Possibly had level 2
The silence into the roll.
I mean, I would have maybe rolled in first. If you roll in first, you kill him 100%. It's the same thing. Like, if you boulder first, the time that you spend rolling, it guarantees your boulder hitting, or your roll hitting. But then your disable duration is low. Again, the way that you keep initiating like this is the weakest on disable. It's the highest on burst damage. And it's most reliable, because you only will go in if your boulder hits. But it's the lowest on damage, and or lowest on overall damage and lowest on overall disable. If you're rolling boulder in first, then you slap him, then you boulder, then you slap him again, then you silence, then you slap him again. He hasn't moved for like 3-4 seconds, and he's been disabled, either silenced or stunned the whole time, and you've attacked him like 4 times. This way that you went in, you got like 2 attacks in, and you did all your spells. Boulder, rolled in, 1 slap. You didn't even get 1 slap off. Not even a single slap. You hit him once there. So it just...
And I should have known that he had already used his orb too.
Well, maybe. That part's hard. If he has phase shift, stuff like that, it gets harder. Because once he dodges the boulder, you're kind of screwed. But you can watch, like right there, he used phase shift. And I think you could have seen that. Let's see what your camera was like.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So, boom, you saw the phase shift. You saw the orb. Like, you got him with the combo. That was good. But you got 0 right clicks on him due to the nature of you using your abilities in that way. That's it. If you roll in, then boulder, then after that ends, which is very fast, obviously, then silence. You should get like 3 right clicks in, plus way more disable. You'd get more like 3.5 seconds of disable. Possibly more. You could even do a rolling boulder into a silence. That would have probably been the better move, maybe. And
That's
then
actually
afterwards,
huge.
boulder
Wow.
smash. Then 2 seconds of slow with silence is essentially stun, right?
Plus all
Rolling
my
boulder
slaps.
in, geomagnetic, and then punch afterwards. That's 2 boulders, so it's almost the same as what you used for boulders. Way more disable, way more damage, right clicks. You would have killed him there, I think. And because that got messed up, Medusa almost dies to an overdive as well. So she kind of messed that up, but you getting experience here, I think, is fine. That was good. Never mind. Not good.
Yeah. I didn't realize Puck would be there so fast.
You did have him on vision though. I'm really bad at this personally. I get focused on something, but this whole time you knew he was there. Like he's been walking this whole time. Eating the orb was the biggest thing that got you killed as well, and you also could have boulder smashed there, but you didn't. I'm not sure why. Probably because you didn't expect the puck coming, and then
Yeah.
you just weren't watching the map. That's it. It's very clear.
Gets a nice juke there.
Yeah, that was fine. All right, let's see where you're going. All right, you're going bottom.
So I saw that guy was pretty low.
Oh yeah, by the way, Earth Spirit Darkseer is like one of the best early game combos. Because it's basically you've got Rolling Boulder with Orb of Venom, and then put an Iron Shell on top of that, you're essentially like 2 heroes. So level 1, if you have a Darkseer on your team, you should almost always go to where the Darkseer is, and group up. He Iron Shells you, then he Iron Shells himself, and then you go take a fight. So you could have done this earlier. It's hard against a Jug because he can just spin. That's the only downside.
I think that's what he does, or maybe puts down his healing ward. And I'm like, well, I think right now is the time to go in, but
I mean, the Darkseer should have his Iron Shell on you. That's that simple. He'll go in for a last hit or a deny maybe. Yeah, you kind of missed your opportunity a little bit here because he was at half HP. It's hard when you're this low level because your disable durations aren't super high. Killing the Jug here, like if he would have put Iron Shell on you, like right here, he put it on a creep. If he puts it on you instead, boom, Iron Shell on you right now. You walk to the side, then he Iron Shells himself, and then you just Rolling Boulder in and punch him at the same time. Or you can do punch into Boulder, for example, like punch it and then afterwards roll. Then when you get there, you can pull back and silence him. He's got 350 HP. Darkseer is a level 3 Iron Shell, so that's what, 70 damage per second for him and you. So while he's disabled for pretty much like 4 seconds, stun and silence, he would be getting healing warded, but he'd be taking 4 seconds of Iron Shell damage at double time. So that's like 500 magic damage, not including the other spells you cast. He would have died, 100%. So what you should have done is, as you TP'd in, said, Iron Shell me, Iron Shell me, Iron Shell me. Say it on voice, say it on text, whatever it takes. Then when you have Iron Shell, you kill him right now. Boom, he's dead.
yeah, level 1 healing ward wouldn't keep him alive through that.
Yeah, definitely not.
But what about the spin?
Well, that's why you have to initiate properly. And to initiate properly, you boulder smash from trees. Because if you roll in first and then try to boulder smash, it's probably not going to work. If he presses Blade Fury in time, you're screwed. Like, well, you'd have to disengage. You wouldn't die, I don't think. But boulder smash from trees when he's about to go for a last hit, if you can predict his movement, and then rolling boulder immediately. Punch and immediately rolling boulder. Once the rolling boulder lands and the stun is about to end, which is pretty fast, then you silence him, and then you just walk with him. Don't attack him, because if you attack, he'll get outside of Iron Shell range. You could have gotten this kill for sure. Like, you just, like, playing Earth Spirit is not easy. Definitely. Like, you know how to do the one combo that you know how to do, and you do it really well. But you're having trouble changing it up or understanding. Like, I have to look at this and say, like, how are we going to kill a Jug? Well, to kill a Jug, you have to instantly disable him before he presses spin. If he presses spin, the gank is over. And we have to burst him down within the limited amount of time we have. So to do that, we're going to need Iron Shells on both me and Darkseer, and we're both going to need to run in as soon as we stun him. That's how I figured it out. So you have to do as much damage as possible within that 3 seconds to kill him. He's at half HP, you guys can do it. So, how can you initiate before he spins? Well, the easiest thing to do is when he's next to trees, you just boulder smash through the trees. He won't see it coming. It'll stun him, and then you follow it up with a silence after rolling bouldering it. Once you know the pattern, you can execute it. I'm sure you can do that. I know you like your combo, but once you know the way that you should do it, you have to execute it that way. And if you can't do that, then just practice that. I'm sure you can figure that out because you practiced the other combo and you made it work. So you just have to say, how am I going to get this gank off? And honestly, it's pretty much the same for most heroes. Anti-mage is the same as Jug. You kill him before he casts his spell, and you prevent him from casting his spell. Match your stun, follow it up with a silence, don't let him escape, and then he dies.
So I should mostly not really do the other combo as much.
Almost
Like
never.
more of the roll in and then the punch. Or
That
the punch and roll.
That combo is best if you are going on a BKB target, I would say.
Just to get the burst damage in?
Exactly. Do as much damage as possible before he presses BKB. In which case, sure, and that's assuming the rest of his team isn't there. Because if you cast Geomagnetic Grip on somebody just for the damage, and his whole team is there, that's a huge waste, you know? You could silence his supports while you go on the carry with that, for example. That would be more useful than using it for burst damage. But if it's like a solo Jug and he's got a BKB in his inventory, so you know that he's immune to silence, basically, then just blow everything on him right away if you think you can kill him. That's the only way I would do the combo that you did. Or, unless you miss the boulder smash, maybe. But that's maybe the only exception. So yeah, like your combo is definitely a tool that you want to have as Earth Spirit, but it's a tool you should be rarely using. The one that I see most pro players do recently actually is they will start a rolling boulder, and while they're rolling, they will either boulder smash mid-roll. I think they have to do that with quick cast. I haven't practiced it myself yet, but I think you have to quick cast for that. And then while you're rolling through the boulder, you would also drop maybe a remnant and pull back. Those are the two that I see. So they're using basically rolling boulder just to get close enough, and then when they're close enough, they do a boulder smash while rolling or a geomagnetic grip. So for me, I don't have quick cast, so I'd have to double tap E and press either boulder smash or geomagnetic grip. If I'm doing boulder smash, I'd have to roll, double E, D, left click to do that. If you have quick cast, you could do rolling boulder, stone remnant, and then you do stone remnant, boulder smash. You'd probably just press like 2 keys and it would instantly go out.
Yeah, I do use quick cast on him.
So
That's a must.
I'm sure you can figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Rolling, and while you're rolling, practice hitting a target. So you could like go into a custom game, see a neutral camp, rolling boulder towards them, but before you get there, cast your spell accurately. And if you can figure out how to do that, that's how most pros do it. Because when you get to higher and higher levels, your windows for getting kills are smaller and smaller, so you have to do it perfectly. At your level, you could easily you could do it the way that I do it and you'd win games. But once you play higher than my MMR, then you have to do that crazy stuff where they know that you're there, or they're going to see you rolling in time, they'd easily react in time. You'd have to do the fastest
Have the stun
initiation.
mid-flight.
Exactly. So that's the stuff that you need to practice and you need to start using in your games for your spirit to get better. Because you're kind of understanding how to roam. You're doing worse this game than the last one, and you're also a little under-leveled. But you have a lot of the principles down. But you need to pressure a bit more. I think you stayed in your top lane too much. You didn't get action done. And you're still not organizing with allies. So, for example, you could look at the map right now and be like, hey, Legion Commander's almost 6. When Legion Commander hits 6, I'm going to buy a smoke. I'm going to run to Legion Commander. We're going to smoke together, and we're going to get a gank off mid. It'll be easy to do. You just land the stun on the puck. You silence him afterwards. And, of course, you approach from the back. So you'd run around this way. And you'd run around like this. You could come from the front, for example. As long as you land the stun on the puck or the silence, you're good. So you initiate on puck, you stun and silence him, let Legion Commander get in melee range, he duels, and boom, dead hero. You just, I don't know if you'd think about that gank on your own, but the easiest way, in my opinion, is to look at your heroes and say, what hero gets really strong at level 6? And then be there when they do hit level 6, or smoke with them as they hit level 6 to go somewhere to get a kill. If you just plan ahead a little bit, explain how the gank is going to work as you approach it, say like walk around this way, draw on the map. Say like walk around this way, and you draw on the map to show the approach, put a little arrow, and you say you move around, I will boulder when I say go. And then you say go, you do it, he gets to duel, boom, you get a kill. Huge golden edge. You guys are losing 7-1 for God's sake. Like, it shouldn't be like this. And this was a game you lost, right?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. It looks like
can
you're gonna lose
check.
it. Definitely not over. Here's a great example of a fight that you could have done. Legion Commander gets 6. He says, alright, I'm going to fight. TP's to the bot lane. This guy starts spinning. Alright, this is a little hard. Because you might be wondering, like, when do I go in? I think, personally, the Legion Commander kind of messed that up. I think he should have just dueled him, maybe.
Even with the spin going.
Yeah. He didn't. The problem here is he didn't cancel his animation after he casted his spell. So this is the full animation. And you also missed your boulder, which you obviously really needed to not miss. Did you not know how long his spin was going to last? Was it just a bad guess?
I think it was a bad guess. Usually I click on him. Like,
Okay,
I
good.
think I am right now. Or maybe that's you.
This is me. Let me check to see if you did.
Because I've been trying to do that more often.
Yeah, it's very useful for sure.
No, I guess I don't.
Yeah, you didn't. And you gotta wait until, for example, I knew he wasn't gonna go for that kill. So look, Darkseer's getting really low. He could Mango Omni Slash, so there's a chance he'll go for it. But you can do it based on how you see the heroes moving. Like, as soon as he sees the Legion Commander, he gets scared, obviously. If it was just him and Darkseer, he would have stood still and gone for it. But as soon as he sees Legion Commander, you have to assume, oh, he's gonna move. He's not gonna stand still, he's gonna start running back to base. And then when he starts running south, then you say, okay, he's running south, this is an easy hit, and then you line it up. So that's how you mess that up. You didn't react to him reacting to the Legion. So that's how you need to do it differently. If he stood still there and was going to go for the kill, you did it perfectly, but you didn't react to the Legion. You didn't see the Legion coming. I didn't see the Legion coming just now. But you gotta just be slightly more patient with your initiation, because this would have been a dual kill on a really big target. That guy really committed. So it was good that he got off the map to go try to get a kill. But
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
could have been there for that one, I think.
Is under attack.
Oh, he got the haste? Oh, this is really bad. You're like dead. If I were you, I would have just ran right away.
Radiant's middle
This is basically unwinnable at this stage, but you should have ran this way. Somebody could have TP'd. You could have been here by the time you died, and maybe somebody helps you. Instead, by fighting him, you just gave yourself a death sentence. You either run to Ancients, run to Roche, or run to your tower.
Yeah, I definitely at least could have run to Roche. You're right.
Yeah, you did.
Because I knew I was going to die there.
Yeah. Oh, he got the jug. He gets a double now. He might not have gotten that kill if you made him kill you here, for example, versus here.
His bottom tower is under attack.
Alright, so now you're behind. You're level 5. Alright, let's see. Where should
Actually,
you
I think we do win this game.
Okay, well, you shouldn't win this game because you guys have been all playing bad, but maybe you can. Alright, what do you do now for a kill? Well, alright, you're behind. You're level 5. I just told you what the answer is. I think you should get a kill. Where should you get a kill?
Probably with Legion somehow.
Okay, let's check Legion. He's got duel on 7. That's great. How would you get a kill with him right now?
Probably smoke up. Get some woods in.
Alright, perfect. Do you have those items? No, you don't. But you can afford to smoke. It's only 50. You've got a ward. That's fine. Where would you get a smoke right now? Let's look at your vision. No more cheating. Alright, I'll click on some heroes from what you can see. You can see Puck mid. He's got no mana. You got Jug bottom. He didn't use Omni Slash last fight. He's also got a Mango, so he's definitely got mana. Where would you gank?
Probably Puck, because I see no mana, and the rune's not going to spawn for another minute.
Okay, that's a possibility. It's a little hard because he can phase shift. I think where you should actually go is you should group up with probably Legion, and you guys should push top.
Okay.
By pushing top, you can easily... I mean, this tower should be more damaged, probably. If you guys would have won your lane, this tower could be gone by now. But if you grouped with, like, Legion and, I don't know, maybe just Darkseer and you push top in, you could just sit over here in the trees. You could get a ward down here. You could stand, like, right here. And you can place a ward here. That'll give you vision of everywhere behind. You could put a ward up here. You could walk through the river, go over here, put a ward here. And then just wait for the tower to push in. Because Darkseer will push it. If you sit behind the tower basically with Legion, you can initiate, allow Legion to duel, and then with Iron Shells you guys easily get a kill. That's probably the better way to do it. It's not as obvious because there's no hero there. And again, if we look at full vision, there is actually a Wind Ranger over here. But if you showed up right here with Legion, you kill Wind Ranger. Assuming she doesn't like shackle the Legion or run away, for example. But that's where you should be looking for a kill. You should be like if you don't super easily see where you should go, you should push out either the safe lane or the off lane and sit next to it and look to kill somebody. That's kind of a fallback that I do a lot, for example. Is I let somebody else push out a tower and then I sit in the jungle with one of my other heroes. And once it gets under tower, then you just dive them. That's a really easy option. It's a little scary because people can TP, but I think that's a good way to catch up. And you need to catch up by getting kills, 100%. So let's see what you actually do. Put a ward down. I don't like this ward. It doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. Your ward should be in their jungle most likely because you guys actually have semi-gank heroes. You could also gank with Ember Spirit. He's got really good damage potential once he hits 6. But he's been ultra gimped this game because you guys didn't win the safe lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
And I
another
think he's actually the highest MMR in this game, if I remember correctly.
And so now you've gimped him by lowering his MMR essentially by 400 because he had such a rough start, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, now you guys have to play with your high MMR player being more shut down because you didn't make the right decisions.
Exactly, and I hate being in that position too. So.
And now you lost like 200 HP killing a Wildkin. Don't really think that was worth it. You've kind of basically just ran around the last 2 minutes, not accomplished anything. Instead, you could have been proactive in setting up kills, for example. That was nicely done by Purge.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually knew he had an invis, so I shouldn't have died there.
I saw that. I didn't think he would be there either. I thought he was still somewhere over here.
Yeah, I remember that being a pretty good play.
Here, let's resume this so we can actually see.
I think I even plopped down a sentry.
Yeah, you did like about the same time that he on me slashed. So again, it's the same thing as what happened last game. You're not being proactive and you're not setting up kills. You're basically playing reactive. You're going places and you're saying, hey, I guess I can try this kill, or maybe I'll sit behind my allies somewhere. If you guys go top and you push the tower and you gank the Wind Ranger, then all these heroes have to TP to defend. And that might have been the Juggernaut, for example, going there. And then he doesn't grab the invis and he doesn't set up a kill here. If you guys are passive, their heroes are not going to be reactive. If they're more aggressive than you guys, you will lose the game almost always. Because they're going to be initiating fights, they're going to be taking good fights, and you're all going to be standing in random places across the map not having good fights. Being proactive is extremely important. You have to make sure that you don't like ultra dive under tower and get wiped by a black hole or something, but most of the time being proactive is really good. And then Ember Spirit would be sitting top by himself farming because you guys would have been taking fights here and in the jungle and bottom and all these other places. So you just got to be a little bit more proactive. It's really important.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like this guy's item build.
The brown boot blink. I remember messing up pretty bad there, yeah.
Well,
I think that was pretty obvious.
I didn't think he was going to turn around personally, but you should have checked the timer. It was good that you stunned him, but he was actually never going to die, I guess. Because he could always just put the... Well, that's not true. If you would have saved your spells until as the thing ended, you could have just nuked him and killed him afterwards, I think. That would have been a good time for your combo, for example. Okay. He just dies anyway. But that would have been a good example of your combo. As soon as the stone form ends, you hit him with everything. It'd be hard to time though, because he's probably spamming phase shift. I would say maybe you would silence him before the rock ends, and then boulder smash rolling boulder. Then you do 200 magic damage right away. The silence would still be on him, so you couldn't phase shift. That's how you'd have to do that. But it's hard to think about that stuff, you know. But you gotta think. You gotta think about that stuff if you're playing or Spirit. That gives this guy a Blink Dagger, which means he should be getting more ganks off now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I think the Legion's actually been doing pretty well on your team. If it wasn't for him moving around the map a little bit, you guys would have had 0 ganks.
Yeah, he definitely carried the mid game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
I feel like that actually happens a lot at lower MMRs. This is
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I think you should have been here for this fight. And you're top with all your mana being gone. Oh, you got a gank off. I can't believe you didn't.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, he just saw me TP in, but...
I think your initiation was alright there. I'm okay with you doing the combo there, because he's just gonna die. You did stack your stuns again, obviously. But he got his mana drain, so it didn't really matter that much.
I'm winded.
I am harsh, so you may learn.
Dire's middle tower is
I would have used a lot of stones there, but I don't think it matters. He was gonna die anyways.
has fallen. It's under attack. Dire's top tower.
Alright, you bought Urn, you got a Wand this game, and you also got Sage and Mask early. I like that a lot. This item build is, if you're going Wandering, I think this build is perfect, the way you did it here.
Radiant's bottom tower
Except for that Orb of Venom.
Yeah, exactly. So, basically, you respawn, or after you heal, basically, you run all the way to the mid lane. There's no reason to do this. Yeah, there's creeps there. Yeah, there's no heroes here. Where you should be is bottom. Legion's pressuring the tower. Somebody's going to TP. He can't kill somebody alone with duel, most likely. So if he has a little bit more damage, he can. If you would have just walked bottom instead, you'd be like right here. Or you could have TP'd and walked. Stand
Do
in
you
the
think
trees.
it's better to walk? Because I like to keep the TP just in case I do need it.
Yep, that's right. You're doing it the right way. You should usually walk. But let's back up time and read the map, see how this happened. Okay. So, kill the jug. You're healing. I would look bottom and say there's 2 heroes bottom.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Oh wow,
attack.
don't tell me they didn't kill him. Okay, they did. They killed Jug. I would look at the map here and I would be like, oh, they're pushing our top tower. We're gonna lose it, most likely, because your options are these: you either go top and defend top,
Not
which is
gonna
a bad
happen.
idea, or you go bottom and push a tower, and you just kill the Jug, so he won't be there. Ember Spirit has no mana, so he won't be able to do much. But Legion Commander will have duel eventually. I feel like what you do is you TP bottom and you just push with them, or you TP bottom and hide in the trees.
Dire's top
Either would have been
tower
okay,
is
honestly.
under attack.
And it's kind of hard to see this
Radiant's
happening
bottom tower is
because
under attack.
same thing, like, oh, that guy had to go back and heal, he had no mana. But you could plan this ahead, or you could communicate with this guy and say, let's go push. You should be able to see that we killed a hero. Our Legion Commander is going to pressure it because he's fairly survivable. Just go down here and sit behind him. Sit over here. Sit here. You could stand over here because it's nighttime. You could hide, like, right here in these little trees.
Ooh, that's a good spot.
Yeah, just look at trees and see where you could stand. Somewhere that they're not going to have vision. You could honestly stand in this little square. They wouldn't be able to see you unless they stood like anywhere here. And then you just wait to initiate. That's what you should have done instead. Then you could have a kill and a tower. Like, look, somebody tried to TP. He canceled his TP. He messed up. But if Puck shows up there or something, and you can buy Legion Commander enough time to get duel off, then you get a kill. Instead,
Radiant's
Ooh.
bottom tower is under
you got
attack.
experience. Oh, and you
Not efficient.
And you left the lane and you bought your urn and you basically walked from mid lane all the way to over here. Got 2 creep wave of experience. Now you're waiting for the courier to come back to you so you can get your urn. Could have been bottom. Look who died. It was actually Legion Commander.
Hmm.
Let's see if you could have changed this.
Radiant's bottom
Alright, he gets the last hit on the tower.
Radiant's bottom
2
tower
TPs.
is under attack.
He went all in for it. Boom.
Radiant's bottom
I guarantee you would have bouldered smashed this guy.
Oh yeah.
Juggernaut stunned. Legion Commander eventually gets away. Instead he dies. What are you doing?
Dire's top tower is under
Running around doing nothing.
So, the way you spend the time as a support is entirely what changes the game. That's
Mhm.
everything when you're playing support. You have to be efficient. You have to look to predict what's going to happen on the map. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And you easily could have predicted Legion Commander's taking bot tower, he's pressuring it. Maybe they'll TP in Legion Command, or maybe they'll TP in Winter Wyvern. Like, you just need to be there for multiple reasons. Either to stun somebody that chases your Legion, either to do damage if you duel somebody, because him alone won't kill somebody, or to cover him on a retreat. Like, any of those things are things you could do that you could do just by standing there and you didn't do. So
Hmm.
that's how you got to play lead or spirit and support. Like, this all these things that I'm saying applies to all supports. If you just see where you need to be and then you go there, it's going to completely change how you win games. And all of your games are going to get easier, and you're going to win more games, you're going to get more kills, it's going to get you more items. You're going to be way more farm than normal because you're not standing around. So there's a lot of
So
things
I
you
should
can do in
never
this
be
game.
standing around ganking on this guy. I mean,
Well-
not ganking, farming.
Farming, pretty much, yeah. The only time that I would do that on Earth Spirit is if you're at 0 stones or at 1 stone. That's the
Mhm.
only time. But even then, you know how to gank with 1 stone. So even with 1 stone, you could probably still do something. The only time you should probably be ultra passive is, I don't know, maybe your team is waiting for Roche to come up and you have a Faceless Void, an Enigma, and a Tidehunter, and all their ultis are on cooldown. That's a good example of a time to farm on Earth Spirit because your other heroes can't do anything really.
Hmm.
Those are maybe the only circumstances that I'm thinking of off the top of my head that I would farm. And again, there's sometimes, like, if your opponents have Aegis and they're split pushing a little bit, you might spend some time defending towers and farming. But more likely than not, you should be spending your time sitting behind cores, looking for kill possibilities, smoke ganking with 2 or 3 heroes, stuff like that. Especially your MMR. Almost always that's the better thing to do, because your opponents aren't going to be super organized and they won't be like pushing together, stuff like that.
Okay.
So I think that's enough for Earth Spirit. We have about 40 minutes left, so we can focus on a different role or a different hero. It's up to you.
I played a game as Necrophos
Okay.
that I wanted to. Was it this one? Yeah, let me send you the ID. So this one I played hard carry, and we eventually had someone DC, but I think I played against a little bit lower skilled players, and I did okay, but I think I definitely could have done a lot better.
All right, 40-minute
Like-
game. Your last hits are very low at 179. Your KDA is not very good. You are against a Juggernaut who has a lot of physical. Pudge is a mix of both. Gyro's a lot of magical. It's kind of a weird game. They have a lot of magic. At the very least, I think you're missing a cloak. At the very least.
Mhm.
So that's probably what I'd say just from looking at the scoreboard.
But I know if I played this more correctly, I could have had a huge advantage.
Yeah, Necrophos is a bit of a weird hero. If you get a bunch of kills and you have the tankiness, then you kind of just win the whole game. But if you get behind, he kind of just sucks a little bit. Wiener Sucker. You've got all the interesting people on your name on your team.
Prepare for battle.
Alright, so you got a Mango, 2 Ironwood branches, tons of regen. You're against an Aximus. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's your guy. What is it, offlane Pudge?
I think it was Lich and
Lich Pudge?
was it Pudge?
Yeah, it looks like. Oh, it's Jug.
No, I guess it was Joe.
Okay. If it's Jug, I like the fact that you had lots of regen. I'm not a huge fan of your item build. It's almost good, but I think it's too heavy. I think you should go a little bit more stat heavy, personally. Like, Necrophos' main problem is he doesn't have armor. His armor is really low early. The build that you could do in the previous patch, when Ring of Protections gave you 3 armors, you could buy 2 Rings of Protection. That way you have 6 extra armor. The reason that's so valuable is because when you have a lot of armor and you get healed, the amount you get healed is technically multiplied by your armor, if you think about it. Because people have to lower your HP, go through your armor, then you heal, and they have to go through that again. So basically you're getting double the value out of your armor. So armor is super valuable in Necro. So for that reason, I feel like getting a couple more stat points is kind of good. Maybe you could go like double Ironwood branch with a circlet, or maybe you start with a Ring of Protection, just get 2 armor. It's not amazing value, but even something like a Ring of Basilius in the laning stage makes a big difference. It gives you 3 armor. And then any heals that you get for that laning stage is going to go better. With that said, you're against a Lich and a Jug, so armor actually doesn't do that much. I think your item build is actually pretty perfect against the dual lane you're against. But I don't know.
Because
if
I
you're
figured I'd be
expected
taking a lot of Lich spam, so I'd need some extra tangos.
that. Alright. You're right about that, but if you do have a dual lane, or I guess you don't, doesn't really look like you have a standard support. I don't even know where your Warlock is going. He's just
I'm not sure what he does.
just dying. Oh, he juked him. Oh, never mind. There's literally 4 heroes. With Warlock in your lane, I don't think you needed this much regen. I think you could have gotten away with a Ring of Protection here instead of the Enchanted Mango. And then with Warlock in the lane, you should be able to beat that because you'd have more regen than them. So, see how you do in terms of last hits. In terms of item build, or skill build, what do you usually get?
Usually max the death pulse.
God, if you
Maybe
said
some.
Stopper, I would have been so mad.
No, I mean, yeah, the Q is too good. But usually I get 1 in Heartstopper and then Sadist.
Okay, I like the Heartstopper this game because you're in a dual lane. Normally, if it's soul off lane, you just don't get Heartstopper. But okay, you do have a dual lane with the Warlock. I think you can win this lane, honestly. I would just right click the Juggernaut a lot. He does have a poor man's shield, so it's a little tough. But I think you can get away with it. Your last hitting fine. Boots ASAP, really important. Yep, trading with either Lich or this is perfect, what you just did there. You just right click the shit out of this guy and he loses like 300 HP. He's got less armor than you and he has less regen, so try not to let Jug get in melee range of you, that's pretty dangerous. But you're actually doing like a ridiculous amount of damage, I'm sure, with just Heartstopper alone. I would have saved the Death Pulse until after the spin ends, or just not used it.
Okay. My thinking was I want to get it off cooldown so I could use it again if I need it. If they were to dive me.
You're right about that, but they weren't going to dive you more. You should have been able to read that.
No, the spin's gone.
It was mostly gone. We've got a replay bug here, but you'll see in a moment. Alright, he nukes you. This lasts for 4 seconds, is slow. He can't cast again for 8 seconds. And this guy spun a little bit earlier. Well, it was basically on top of you. But he's only level 2, so maximum this does 400 magic damage, which should be 300 after reduction. You would have lived, no problem. What you could have done instead, maybe, is if you didn't Death Pulse there, for example, you could have just salved right away as you're chasing him.
Salve as he's spinning.
No, like right now. Let's assume you didn't Death Pulse. You would have 90 less HP, you'd be missing about 300. Pop salve, walk after them. That way they either have to turn around and hit you, or yeah, they basically have to turn around and hit you while you chase them. And then you would have had an extra. You would have had full HP when you went into this, and you would have an extra 145 mana. That's just an option. You didn't, the way you did it was fine, I think. It's not. It was a very small criticism, but you just lost some value in your mana there. You got heal out of it, but you didn't do any damage.
No damage.
If you get both the damage and the heal, that's where Death Pulse gives you value. If you get both. If you're just using it for the heal, you're kind of wasting your mana. It like doesn't give you much. But you could basically have an extra Death Pulse right now, and you'd probably have like 200 less HP because you would have had to tango up after the fight. But you've got a lot of tangos, so. At this point, I'm a little sad you don't have Sadist, but I totally understand. I think your skill build for the laning stage was fine here, considering the two heroes you're against. You shouldn't have done that. It does push the wave, of course. I mean, your wave is pushing because you have 2 range creeps. Oh, you did get the Death Pulse on. Never mind, that was worth it then. I like that you did that. Yeah, your last hitting pretty fine.
Yeah,
right,
and I think our Tidehunter ends up DCing.
Okay, and you're going treads, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
I like the treads. You know, I guess I'm okay with the belt. I would maybe have gone the Robe of the Magi instead for the extra right click, because it's 6 damage, plus the extra mana. But with that in that same vein, you have a lot of regen. If you just survive the harass, you win this lane, most likely. Yeah, right click the crap out of that Lich is a good idea. I think you're playing this lane fine. Alright, that's where you fucked up. You went into melee range against the Jug. That was a big mistake. If you're gonna harass him, you shouldn't go into melee. Because as soon as he spins, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I see that now. I don't
And
think
again,
so.
same thing. You just used Death Pulse just now. See that?
Mm-hmm.
You probably said, oh, whatever, I can use it twice. But you weren't gonna die, and that's because you had a Belt of Giant Strength. You have an extra 100 HP, way more than these guys at this stage. So at this point, boom, you Death Pulsed. But then half a second later, as soon as it ends, alright, look at your HP.
Yeah, I could have waited and probably killed him.
You Death Pulse for 90 HP, you would have been here. You could use it now, done 175 and hit this guy 3 times. 2 times maybe. It would have been close. Honestly, it would have been close. Or what you could have done is Death Pulse. See if he chases you. If he keeps chasing you, you run away from him until you have time to use Mango Death Pulse again. Then he dies. Or, if he fights you, then... Basically, if he fights you, you run. If he runs, you chase after him. That's how you should do it. Never let him just auto-attack you, because he's going to do more damage to you, and you won't beat him in a right-click war, because he has Poor Man's Shield and more armor than you. So, plus, he could have his Blade Dance, and he could crit you. So what you should have done, save your Death Pulse, use it here, get his HP really low. It would have gotten him down to probably, we'll say level 2. It would have done like 125 damage after reduction, so he'd be like 3 hits away from dying. And now, you basically have to run away. Now this is scary, because if they get another nuke, you might actually just die. It looks like it's still going to work. Alright, you're still going to get the kills, but you see how more dangerous this was than it had to be? Like, it was so much closer than it had to be, because you used Death Pulse too early. If you're going to die to the Blade Fury, you got to use it while he's Blade Furying, but you didn't have to there. So you're doing this relatively well, but you're just playing a little bit off. You're not getting maximum value on your mana. Same thing with that Death Pulse you used earlier. If you didn't use that Death Pulse earlier, you wouldn't have had to Mango now. Like, all these things add up over the course of laning stage. That's why the laning stage is so hard to play well. It's because almost all players don't use their mana perfectly. You did it well here, where you got like 2 last hits and you harassed the hero. That was a really good Death Pulse. But the one you wasted here, you used half your mana pool for 90 HP, and you had like 5 tangos and a salve. Like, absolutely not worth it. You did not have mana there to spare like that. So just a couple more efficiencies like that, you'd still have a Mango in your pool, which would give you more overall HP regen. You would have killed the Jug easier. You would have taken less damage. Like, all that stuff would have made a big difference. And now you've got Treads, which is good for Sadist. But the problem now is you just don't... I actually maybe would have killed this on the way home. Yeah, I definitely would have. Just because it's slightly efficient.
Just get that extra farm.
Yep, you could have Death Pulsed it, and when you Death Pulse, of course, you go to Int, and then you switch back to Strength Treads or Agility. If you want to fully regen, just go Agility. And you bought another Mango here. I guess this is alright, but kind of same principles before. You would have had that mango if you didn't waste it, or if you would have been more efficient with your mana. Do you ever watch your own replays, by the way?
Yeah, I try to, but it definitely helps having you point out certain things.
Okay. So you're
I
just
try to watch
missing
them pretty
some of these
often.
little
Mhm.
things. Okay. So learning to watch your own replays and realize what you're doing wrong is really important. Once you figure that stuff out, it makes a huge difference.
Radiant's middle tower
I would
is under
probably
attack.
stick to int treads when I'm last hitting, but it kind of comes down to personal preference, I guess. I would have gotten in there a little bit faster. I think you ran the wrong way. You're very tanky compared to them, and he's not 6, so he can't kill you no matter what. So despite the fact that he's chasing you, I just would have ran right here. And then once you get a melee range of 2, you death pulse. This is good. That was a really good death pulse. Oh, that sucks. But you see, you would have had that kill if you ran right instead. You didn't read this correctly. So
What I was thinking was that the Lich was going to come through too, and I was aiming for a 3-man death pulse.
I mean, that's not important, man. It's if the Pudge is right here, you just gotta kill him. Like, that's the mid hero, actually. You just gotta kill that guy. But, like,
And it would have helped because he snowballed hard.
he denied himself because you didn't get melee range enough, so the death pulse didn't catch him. If you just ran right, like look where Jug is, you could have been right in front of him. You would have been right here. You get a death pulse to damage Pudge, to heal Bounty Hunter, and to heal Axe. And instead, you eventually got the death pulse off. But it was so late. Also, the mistake was that Bounty used his Shuriken. This is a little bit more Bounty's there. I think he should have saved his Shuriken. If he would have saved it, he could have gotten the last hit. And your death pulse was pretty good. And here, you're not tread switching. Always, always, always tread switch when you death pulse. It's no different than using a wand. I don't know if you do that ever, where you use wand. You go agility treads, you wand, and then you switch back to whatever you need. In this case, you go. You press space, or you press whatever your hotkey is once, it goes to int, you cast Death Pulse, you press it 2 more times. Boom, back to what you were before. Every single time you gotta use it like that. Because you would have an extra 50 mana right now, something like that. Easily. Oh, you might have been able to get that kill too. Let me see how you did this. Let's see if you could have gotten more value here. Chasing Death Pulse. Still chasing. Alright, you got blocked by a creep, that's weird. I think that was your fault though. So you attack. That's where you messed up. You can't attack. If you're chasing like this, 1 extra right click, you should only do it if it's going to get the kill. Or if you don't have more mana. But you had more mana. What you should have done is just followed them. Because it's 6-second cooldown. Every 6 seconds you cast a Death Pulse. And it doesn't stop you from moving. So you basically just walk with these guys. And you're faster than him, by the way. You've got boots and he doesn't. But instead, because you attacked twice, by the way. Now you're outside of Death Pulse range. If you just kept chasing, like right now, he would have died.
I'd be like right next to the Jug too.
Yeah, and then you would have gotten 6, and then you
And
could have
Reaper
mango
Scythe.
ultied, and then you could have
Yeah.
death pulsed afterwards, and then you get a double kill. Like attacking when you're chasing somebody, it's almost never worth it. Especially if you have a low cooldown nuke, you want to keep your hero as close to them as possible because you know that eventually it's going to be off cooldown. And especially when you're playing Necrolite, you're tanky, you can heal yourself, you've got a magic wand, you've got a treads, you're already ahead of these guys. You can tank tower 5 times before you get a kill easily. It's not a big deal. Especially because he already used spin and he's not 6. You know that you can kill this guy. You just had to stand with him. But because you attacked twice on Lich, everything got harder. But you could have killed Pudge, and you could have gotten a double kill. Like, think how different the game would have been right now if you killed Pudge and you got that double kill.
I would have had a huge lead.
Huge. You could have had an Ultimate Orb, or you could have gotten a Vitality Booster, Fast Atos, something like that. Boom, right off the bat. Or you could have gotten, like, Fast Force Staff, or maybe you get a Fast Ghost Scepter. What item would you build right now? Looking at their heroes, let's assume what happened. What items are you aiming for?
I was thinking Ghost Scepter, but then I'm like, against the Lion, I don't know, and against Gyrocopter as well.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, let's just tank up, maybe push. We got a Tide, we got an Axe. Let's get a mech.
Okay, I think you're right that mech is the right choice. It solves the physical damage Omnislash problem a little bit. It solves the fact that they have tons of nukes, gives you a heal. So that, I agree, that's the problem that you need to solve. So I think mech is the right option. I would also complete a magic wand fully, just because they have so many nukes that having as much burst heal as you can get is important. By the way, when you get last hits, you gotta switch to agility treads. It's the same as bottling, basically. If you're regenning from Sadist, you always go agility treads, always.
Mm-hmm.
Unless your HP is full, then it doesn't matter. Then you need to be on either strength or agility.
Okay, I didn't think about that with Sadist.
Also, you Death Pulsed here. Your mana is way too low to do that. I don't know why you did this. You probably saw 2 creep signs, so you're like, yeah, whatever. 2 creeps. But that costs you 165 mana. Now you can't Reaper Scythe unless you Mango. If you had a Death Pulse and a Reaper Scythe through the Mango right now, you could actually kill somebody, but you can't do that now because you wasted your mana again. And again, you don't have mana regen other than Sadist. And due to the fact that you had Heartstopper, your Sadist is even weaker than it could be. So if nobody's in your lane, you get 2 Sadist and 3 Death Pulse. You don't get Heartstopper. But due to the dual lane, I think it was right of you to get Heartstopper. I think that was good.
And I think this is where things start falling apart for me.
Okay, and look what you did there. You Mango just a Death Pulse. Like, that's terrible. You can't do that. You wasted 150, and you bought another Mango. That's your 3rd Mango now.
Dude, Mango Gaming.
Alright, but you've spent 375 gold this game on Mangoes.
That's not efficient.
That could have been like a Null Talisman or something. You know?
I see that.
Like, every point of Int gives you an extra 0.03 mana per second or something. 0.04 mana per second. So if you spend all of those mangoes, at the very, your first mango, whatever. But your next 2 mangoes, that's a waste of money. That's 250 gold. You could have spent that on a Circlet or something, plus an Ironwood branch. That's 3 Int, that's a total of 0.12 mana per second. Over 10 seconds, that's 1.2 mana. Over 100 seconds, that's, what, 10 mana, 12 mana or something like that? Am I doing my math right? 10 seconds would be 1.2 mana. You get an extra 1.2 mana over 10 seconds. Over 100 seconds, you get an extra 12 mana.
Yeah.
Like, that will eventually be more than what a mango would give you. You bought way too many mangoes. I kind of like the idea.
I like mangoes.
I think you do like mangoes. On Necro for sure. I mean, I kind of like the idea because Necro does need some mana in the early game. But I think you wasted way too much. You're just being too inefficient with your mana at this stage. Like, your mana should be at least at 60% at all times. That way you can fight if you need to. You also bought a headdress right away. Huge mistake there. Because the only way that you get screwed here is if he Omni Slashes you. If this guy gets a spin and an Omni Slash on you by yourself, you die. And if that happens, everything that you accomplished here goes back to where it was. Like, why do you need the headdress?
I guess to harass him, but you're right.
What do you mean harass him? It's a stat item that regens your HP. Like,
well, like, I can take more harass, take the creep wave if I need to.
Well,
but
I mean, you've got Death Pulse, you've got Sadist, you're a ranged hero, he's a melee hero, you don't need a headdress. The only way you'd need a headdress is if this lane was going bad and you're out of regen and they're harassing you a little bit and you can't trade as well. But you're winning this lane, you get the armor item 100%. Because then you can beat an Omni Slash. You're basically giving yourself 7 armor. 7 frickin' armor is so much. With 7 armor, any Omni Slash, it does like, you tank like 30% more damage, something like that. It's a huge amount. If you get a buckler, he can't solo kill you anymore. If you don't have a buckler, he can solo kill you. It would just take some right clicks on top of what he can do. But your mana is definitely too low. I would even bring yourself out a Clarity Potion, honestly, over the Mango. Bring a Clarity, not a Mango. Mango gives you less mana than a Clarity does. Like, if you just use a Clarity Potion and it fully heals you right now, it does way more value than what a Mango does, by far. That would make sense. Clarity Potion, full wand, headdress. I'm okay with that. But the fact that you got a Mango instead, huge mistake. As long as you can get your Chainmail before he Omni Slashes you, I think I'm fine with what's going on here. But I would also adjust your camera position a little bit. I think you're not looking enough at the Jug. I would consider trying to kill him, personally. His HP is kind of low enough where you can almost get him. Alright, now there's 4 heroes. You guys can see that. How do you react to this? What's the best thing to do?
I see 4 heroes. I see that we have 3. I see Axe is pretty low. I'm thinking we probably shouldn't take this fight.
Pretty much, yeah. You just shouldn't. It's not safe. The only way that you guys take this fight is if you have better teamfight heroes, or if you get more heroes. You've got a Tidehunter. He's level 8. He has a Soul Ring. I don't know. Did he buy a Blink Dagger? Alright, he rushed Blink. So what you should do is look at the map and say, can we win this fight? You've got arguably better teamfight heroes, but only with Warlock 6. He's not 6. And if Ravage comes. If he ravages hypothetically 4 heroes, and you Death Pulse on 4 heroes, and you get a Reaper Scythe on like Jug, a big teamfight hero, or Pudge. If you kill either Jug or Pudge right at the start of the fight with Reaper Scythe, you guys can win the fight. If it's not those circumstances, you shouldn't be taking the fight. And if that's the case, what you do is you run to the jungle and you jungle this camp, and then you jungle this camp, and then you jungle this camp. By doing that, you're waiting for your allies to show up. Once your allies show up, you take the fight and defend the tower. But right now, you guys shouldn't be doing this. Definitely should not be. This is not a good fight. Alright, looks like, okay, you got almost initiated. Alright, that's an easy kill. You should Reaper Scythe this right away. Right away. There you go. Oh, didn't kill him.
Yeah, I was asking Bounty for a shuriken, but he didn't have any mana.
I mean, either way you did this, you should have ulted him here, I think. The problem, let me look at your vision. The problem was, because you didn't Reapers him, he was running, and you guys could have been hitting him earlier. Like, as soon as you got the Death Pulse off, right here, boom, hit him with the ult. If you did it right there, you have vision of him, you get at least one right click in, possibly two, but probably three. Because, like, look at the difference. Plus, he's out of position. If you look in the map,
Yeah, Bounty could have right-clicked him too.
yeah. I'll pause the moment when you messed up. Boom, right here. Reaper side them right now. Death Pulse is already coming out. You're gonna do 275 damage. You're gonna get the ultimate off. Like, when this Death Pulse hits him right now, he goes down to like half HP. You ulti right now, and you immediately start right-clicking him. And before the Reaper Scythe hits, he's gonna get his hit in. He's gonna be slowed here. You're gonna hit him at least, probably, when you Reaper him, you're gonna hit him once, and you're gonna hit him at least one more time. So we'll see how many hits you get in here. You hit him once. You ultied. You didn't hit him again. So you only got one attack in by doing it like this. You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
He could have been one hit from dying standing here. Instead he's one hit from dying standing here after 3 more seconds of movement. Like, you could have killed him right here. That's how you mess this up. Sometimes you have to anticipate how much damage your Death Pulse is going to do so that you can Reaper Scythe on time. Like, as soon as you cast a Death Pulse and you knew it was flying out, you should know he's dead. You cast Reaper Scythe, you hit him like twice, he dies. Boom. Easy kill. You won't get the Reaper Scythe ulti damage, or the extra duration, but that doesn't matter at this stage. If you're not using it on a carry, it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to get your gold. If you're playing a core, you are all about maximizing your gold as fast as you can. And you should have had this kill, and you guys should have been able to get back. If you would have killed this guy, instead it looks like Bounty might die. But if you would have killed this guy, their push ends. Oh, and you missed your click, unfortunately.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
This isn't... Wow, you died. And why did you die? Because Lion is still alive, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and he just dinged 6. That really sucks.
You could have been on 6.
But yeah.
But this happened because you guys messed up the initiation. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. This is on you. This fight going bad is on you. Lion should have died right here. Reaper Scythe, 2 right clicks, Bounty hits him twice, he dies. The only way that might not work is if he double impales you guys, then maybe you're not able to chase him down. But if Bounty is... we'll go back to the exact moment here, just so you can see exactly. Oops. I don't remember what I was waiting for, but I think it was about here. Yeah, I don't remember.
Just being able to kill him before.
Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry about that. I know what time I was looking for. The time I was looking for is right here, but I don't remember why. But basically, okay, I remember now. Alright, so if you Reaper Scythe him right now, and let's say it doesn't kill him, and he's at like one last hit, he's like this much HP. The only way you guys don't get this kill is if Bounty's standing right here, and then he could easily double impale you guys. In which case, what should happen is Bounty would move north, like this way, and you would move a little bit south. That way you guys aren't in a line. That's the only way, because then hypothetically he could double impale you guys, and he could run this way and start juking, which would be really difficult. But that's the only way you wouldn't get the kill here, I think, is if Reaper Scythe and your right clicks barely don't kill him, and he's able to double stun and get away. That's the only way. So that was what I was going to point out.
But he did just use a stun, and I saw him miss it, so...
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
It should have just been right away going on him.
Really good point. I still think there's value in what I said, because when you're killing a lion, try not to get double stunned. That's the only way you don't kill him. But, yeah, that's my point. If you kill him, boom, he's dead. Their push ends. They have a bunch of heroes on the top lane for no freaking good reason. Maybe you could even lead up and get a Juggernaut kill, for example. He's at like 70, 60% HP. If you Death Pulse this guy and hit him once with Bounty and ulti him, he might also die, for example. Especially if Bounty has Shuriken. If this guy just had Arcane Boots. In fact, he did have money for Arcane Boots. He could have bought them right here.
Shuriken, and that would be dead.
Or you guys kill him, he buys Arcane Boots. He had Arcane Boots now, actually. Use your Arcanes, you idiot. Oh, that's how the Witch died, okay. But yeah, he could have bought Arcane Boots, you could have killed this guy, you could have transitioned into a Jug kill with, like, you could have walked up, casted Reaper's Scythe from range, walked into melee range, Death Pulse while he's Shuriken, boom, Jug dies.
And then here comes Tide.
And then whole game changes. Alright, Tide shows up. And feeds the courier and dies. Okay, same thing. If you guys kill a line, you back up, you wait for Tide to come over, then he blink ravages while you ulti the Jug, then boom, you guys win the whole game. You kill 3 heroes, you Reaper scythe the carry, whole game changes. The entire game changes. Gyrocopter can't TP because he's like, oh, my team already lost this fight. That's freaking over. Or maybe if he does TP, then you kill 4 heroes for nothing. You guys easily could have team wiped them there. Whole team. Easily team wiped them. Or wait for Warlock to hit 6, for example.
This is definitely where the game starts changing. And just went straight downhill from here.
Alright, you went back mid. This is fine. On Earth Spirit, I criticize you for this, but you're a carry. The fact that you're pushing mid, this is great. They TP'd, so you backed off. That's fine. I would maybe start walking top to maybe help out there. I would have checked to see what camp this was. If it was a... Not that camp. Not a centaur. We don't... Centaurs are hard to kill. But if it was the satyr one, I would have fought it. None of them were on the map. But the the one with 4. It would give you more satyrs, for example. I think you maybe should have stayed top, potentially, or been walking top. Basically, whenever they have teamfight ultimates, you should group up with them. If Warlock's got his ultimate, you should go push a lane with him, because you're tanky, you do a lot of damage. If you stay alive, you guys win fights. That comboed with Warlock ulti and upheaval, you guys could win like any fight. If they've got Ravage, you go where Tide is, and you group with him, and you take a team fight. Like, those are the things you should look at on your screen. If there's a Chronosphere, if there's a Black Hole, these are the things that allow you to win fights. If there's a line with Finger of Death, you group with line, you smoke. And you can do that as a carry as well. It doesn't matter if you're the core versus the support. Group with the heroes that have good ultimates and go take a fight. Like right now, you lost Bounty Hunter. I don't know if you could have been here. Let's see. You don't have a TP because I assume you TP'd mid.
Then I start running top. And then I say, oh, nope, fight's over. I'm not going to make it in time, go back. So I waste a little time there, running top doing nothing.
Oh yeah, this is just a really bad initiation by your team. But I feel like you could have been like here right now at least. Potentially swung back in. But if you were there, you know, maybe kill 2 heroes instead of a trade of a support for support. That wasn't very good for the Warlock Golem. You should have been able to take a good team fight for that. Like, once you guys have Ravage and Warlock Golem, you shouldn't lose any fights, no matter what. It just shouldn't happen. And now they're just, like, out pressuring you, because now all of your good skills are on cooldown. Like, your heroes suck without Ravage and Chaotic Offering. So you had to win the early laning stage harder for this to work. And in the meantime, you've just been running around, man. Like, the last... And now you're TPing top lane to go defend it. Like, you're just feeding your life into the meat grinder, kind of. Let's see what you did since you TP'd back. Respawn, buy TP scroll, TP back to lane. By the way, you could have bought the Ironwood branch for the buckler. You could have had an extra TP as well. Alright, so you've got 39 CS right now. Let's count what you did. Alright, you got a glyph. That was good. Did you miss all those creeps? Sorry, what's that? Oh, it was just a bug, I think. Maybe. Alright, 39, 42. So you got 4 last hits. I think you missed the catapult. Got a glyph. You walked all the way over here for no reason, because you're walking top for the fight, but you're too late. Go back mid. Push mid again. 46 last hits. It's been about a minute at this stage. Alright, you got another 4 last hits. I mean, you're hitting them all. That's good. Then you're walking bot rune. You found a regen. Not really any point for you being there. Now you TP top lane. It's been like 2 minutes. You got like 11 last hits, but that's all you accomplished. You haven't Reaper scythed somebody. You haven't Death Pulsed a hero. You haven't given your team space on the map. Like, you TP'd up here, but then you ran straight at him as well. Like, if Gyro is low, you don't run at him. You walk around. Like, how are you gonna approach this guy? Like, how is he ever gonna let you get within range of Reaper Scythe and Death Pulse?
Only if he's focused on getting a last hit, and I can somehow just run in time. But it's not.
He gets upheaval off. Like, you don't know that they have a ward here, but if I would have gone for this kill, I would have communicated with the Warlock. You have to upheaval, and the upheaval aim should have been like this, basically, behind him. I wouldn't put it on top of him because then he has less space. If possible, I would put it behind him a little bit. That way you can walk into range to do a Death Pulse and a Reaper Scythe. That's the only way you get this kill. Or you walk around, come from behind, and then sneak up from behind, do a Death Pulse ulti. Basically, if you get within Death Pulse range of this guy, he dies. You Death Pulse immediately ultimate. That's it. Really easy. But you have to get within range of him. And this guy also messed up by casting Fatal Bonds, which obviously scared him. Looks like you might still get the kill. Unless Bounty is terrible. Yeah, he actually would have killed that guy if he just attacked him first. So, boom. Another kill lost. You got like 15 last hits in the last 2 minutes.
Radiant's top tower is
That's not
under
good.
attack.
Pressuring the tower now, that part's good.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Got your heroes here as well. But now you don't have your ultimates. Pudge is off getting kills on the map. Like, you see how you're just not doing enough? You're getting
Yeah,
some last hits, but you're not taking good fights. You had a really good early game, but you still don't have mech, and it's 13 minutes in. That's because your last hits are way behind. With this many kills, you should have more last hits. And, well, getting a lot of kills usually reduces the amount of last hits you have, but you should have gotten more last hits as a whole. And that's probably because of inefficiency on the map, not so much because, like, you're decent at last hitting. You're honestly not bad at last hitting for your MMR. I think you're just not efficient enough to get your last hits up. That's all. Like, if you would have farmed these 3 creeps on the way back, it would have taken you... Do you remember that one time when you walked back to base? It would have taken you an extra 15 seconds, 20 seconds, but you would have gotten an extra 80 gold, 90 gold, 3 more last hits on the way back. Would have been worth it. So, little things like that add up over the course of the game. You could have mech finish now. If you would have been at the team fight where the Warlock Golem was, maybe you get a triple kill. If you took this fight right, you would have gotten a triple kill instead of your whole team dying. You would have had mech plus like a vitality booster right now, then you would be walking around with mech and like 1200 HP. Nobody could kill you. They'd have to like Omni slash you and Rocket Barrage called on you or something like that. It just increases your chance of taking good fights. But now you guys are in this weird place where they're now pressuring you harder. They're getting more kills. Like, if you just won those early fights, got Bounty 6, start tracking people, game's over. Game's completely over. And once you become unkillable, this game ends. So, just a couple little things all lead into a bad situation. With the Buckler, you should have bought the chainmail from Side Shop because you might get initiated on here. And then fly out the other components later is what you should have done. In the meantime, nothing happening.
So should I, when I TP'd mid, should I just have tried to push the tower more so I knew I wouldn't get to the fight, or just have been at the fight to begin with?
Probably you should have looked at the fact that Warlock was 6 and grouped with him.
Okay.
Because Necro he's not an AFK farming hero. He kind of is late game because of the way how the Reaper Scythe Ags works, but at least in the early game you need to be grouped with your team. You're kind of like the healing, nuking, staying alive core. You're kind of like a Shadow Fiend with a BKB. You go up, you hit the tower, you wait till they go on you, you pop BKB and use your skills. It's kind of similar. You group with your team, you nuke creep waves to kill them rapidly, you hit the buildings, you don't get hooked, and then when the fight starts, you cast Death Pulse like 5 times and you kill 1 hero. And just having all those extra heals, it's like you have 2 mechs, basically. That's where you get value out of Necrophos. You did decent laning stage, but you didn't translate it to good kills, and you didn't group with your allies when their ultimates were up. And that's partially on your allies. Your Tidehunter keeps ravaging and dying by himself. Your Warlock right now, this would be a great time to group with Warlock. You plus Warlock can kill any hero. Because he could initiate with Chaotic Offering, start channeling Upheaval, then you walk in, Reaper Scythe somebody to keep them not moving for a second and a half while you nuke them with Death Pulse. Boom, they die. Like, they would die. The only way they stop that is Chain Frosting the Warlock. That'd be the only way. So right now you should be top, for example. This guy's gonna have to rock the ground now. Like, and he doesn't get off the top. But what if you were there in time, you know? If you were there right now, and you could have TP'd. If you're there right now, he just rocks this, upheavals it, you split the damage with him. This guy dies, 100%. But he didn't want to rock it because he's like, well, I'm kind of by myself. If you're there though, it would have been a kill. And you're not going to get killed with this, and you messed up. Like, he's not even close to low enough because it's only level 1 Reaper Scythe. It really does a low percentage of damage. They have to be like below 30% or something. Like, you did 181, that was equivalent to like a 250 damage nuke. It's not much. Which I guess makes sense. What's the percentage? It does 0.4. So basically it does 40% of the HP they're missing. So if he was missing 500, it did 0.4 of that, which is 40 times 5, which is 200, something like that. Did a little bit over 200 damage. And then got reduced. So it didn't do much. But if you would have been there in time, boom, you get a double kill, or at least you kill the gyro. Yeah, you used the golem, but after the gyro's dead, you push the lane out, for example. Oh, maybe Lich will try to defend. That's fine. Lich defends, you do 200 damage to the tower with the golem, or uses the golem to farm 2 neutral camps. Game changes right there.
Yep.
Like, every single little mistake massively cascades into different things. All because you're not set up or you're not prepped enough. Like, Dota is a game of preparation, really, and prediction about what's going to happen. And the only reason I know that, like, talking about it now, the only reason I'm able to vocalize this is because I can look at the map and be like, I think it's good to be near a Warlock when he has his ultimate. That's literally the intuition that I use to know how to do that. If Warlock has his ultimate, he has damage, team fight, we can probably kill somebody if something happens. But because you reacted to it there, you were late. And because you were late, you weren't able to get that kill. But then I can see why it cascades. Like, that's how I explain the other half of it. If you kill Gyrocopter there, you guys get a lot of money because he's the freaking highest net worth on the map. He has 2 times more net worth than any hero on your team. If you would have killed this guy right now, you guys would have gotten like at least 1,000 gold net worth. At least. Boom, mech is finished. Whole game changes. But because you weren't set up, everything's harder. That's why the game is so hard. You guys never set up for ganks, right? So try to play Necro. When you're playing a carry like Necro that can farm but can also gank, you should probably try to rally your supports around you rather than you showing up to where they're farming. Because if you just show up to where they are, you're going to limit your farm, and then some games you're just going to lose because you don't have any farm. So what you need to do is you need to farm sometimes, but also get them to come with. Say like, guys, I'm going to TP bottom, and we're going to push the lane. Come with your team fight ultimates. So, for example, you guys had a bad fight. You didn't use the golem, though. What you should do right now is you should TP bottom and get Tidehunter to TP bottom. And instead you walk somewhere else. Go bottom with Warlock. He's got his ultimate. Push the lane out. Pressure the tower. If they show up, you team fight them. You're going to have Ravage. You're going to have Warlock Golem. You have level 4 people. You've got Track Gold. You should be able to win this fight. You've got a Blink on Axe. You guys have everything that you need to win fights right now. Honestly. You've got everything you need. They're not that farmed. If Jar had a BKB, I'd be like, alright, you guys are fucked. You can't win. But without his BKB, you guys are fine. As long as you, like, Blink Ravage 4 heroes, and then you Death Pulse them, and then Axe, like, Blink calls them, how do you lose that fight, right? Like, it's impossible.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Ravage, Upheaval, Warlock Golem into Berserker's Call. There's no fucking way they win that fight. And I guarantee that they would. If you guys grouped up here and you pushed a little bit, and you had, like, a ward behind tower, and they grouped up a little bit too much, you guys could easily win that. Even if you ravage 3 people into a Berserker's Call, into a Death Pulse with Upheaval, they can't win that fight. There's no way. And you're not doing that because you guys just spread out across the map and you stand around and you're like, well, I'm farming, but you have to farm while pushing. So what you should do is TP here, push this lane out, get the last hits while you pressure the tower. Therefore, you're farming and you're ready to fight. Your allies are near you. Once the fight starts, they're already there. So you're still getting farming efficiency. Your team is still getting team fight efficiency. Boom. The only way that gets countered is if they go top and they push top really hard with like Juggernaut with a Battle Fury, for example. But if you guys group up fast enough and you organize fast enough, then he probably won't be able to split push in time.
Okay.
Do you understand that split pushing aspect?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about how fast you get to your push. If you get there faster than him, then he says, oh crap, they're pushing, I better go split push. Then he runs all the way top. If he's already top and pushing, for example, then you guys go to start pushing, then he has gotten there faster than you, and therefore he can exhibit split pushing on your push. So if you guys just show up bottom right now, 5 heroes, wards behind tower, so you can always have the right initiation, you win this fight every time. You take the tower, you get 4 track kills, 3 track kills. Then you do the same thing next tower when you have ultimates again.
Okay.
Right, do you have any
really
questions?
need to start communicating with my team more.
Definitely. It helps so much, especially if you're playing with people that are lower MMR than you. Use your Dota brain to influence their Dota plays. They know how to press the buttons on their hero at 3k, but they don't know where they should be, and they don't know when they should use their abilities, and they don't know teamwork stuff. They don't know when they should push, they don't know when they should farm. And even if you tell them wrong things, and you guys get it wrong, and you take a bad fight and you die, then you learn something, whatever. But if you guys just stand around, you're just waiting for them to punch hook you, or to omni slash you, or to get advantage of the map. That's it.
That's pretty much what happens the rest of the game.
Exactly. You stand around waiting for somebody to do something rather than being proactive. But right now, you guys have every tool you need to take a fight. Blink Ravage, Blink Berserker's Call. You've got enough levels, honestly. And you've got Warlock Golem. That's it.
Yeah, we should be able to dominate a team fight.
But I'm guessing no fight happens.
No, and I think Tide DCs really quickly here.
Let's go top, you waste Ravage. If Tide would have Ravage right away there, you could have killed one, but you didn't. You messed up. When you're behind, you should be using team fight ultimates like this to start fights. You should Ravage right there. Boom. Ravage, no stun from Lion. Bounty Hunter uses his Shuriken. That's a dead hero. Instead, what's gonna happen is you have to like use like that. That was just so bad, you know. That was on them. Obviously, you weren't in that fight. But where were you during this? Probably walking the bottom.
Doing nothing.
Doing nothing. Yeah. If you're playing core, you should TP to lane generally. By the way, this is a mistake. You walked all the way. Okay, you farmed this camp, but then you walked to bot room, got a regen, and then you finally showed up bottom. Same thing. Same thing as before. He got unlucky there. Imagine if you were there when that gank started. He starts the spin. Boom. He casts rock right now. Cast rock right now. Cast the rock right now.
I was telling him on comms too. Please use your ult.
But if you were here instead of walking from, like you basically walked from base, you farmed this camp, you got the regen, and then you walked bottom. If you were just hiding in the trees or something, and he spun after the warlock times his ultimate to hit. It doesn't really matter. It should hit around the time that the spin ends, and then while he's stunned for 1 second, you death pulse and ulti him, and he takes like 80% of his HP, and then you just chase him down and death pulse again. Dead hero. Boom. Easiest kill ever. But again, you reacted. Nothing happened. You guys wasted Ravage. You didn't get the golem off again for the 2nd time in a row because you didn't cast it in time. It's like just repeating. The same thing repeats. You're not in the right place. Ganks go good for them because they have more heroes there. Boom. Game ends.
Okay, I see that.
Okay, good. Because that's all you got to change. You're pressing your buttons fairly correctly. You're missing some mechanical areas. You're not attack moving properly. You're not tread switching perfectly. Those things you need to practice and keep a mind of. But the major issue that you're having now is you're not positioning your hero in a place aggressively that will allow you to farm while taking towers. And in your Earth Spirit game, you're just not organizing with your team to group up and get kills. So yeah, I would definitely agree that the main thing that you're not doing correctly this game is you're not planning ahead. You're not grouping with allies to go get things done. You're just doing laning stage stuff and then kind of winging everything. But you need to be more organized with what you do. Organize your ganks. Organize your team's movement around your team fight ultimates and your other skills that you can use, and turn those into kills, which then turn into towers, which then turn into map control, which turns into easy Roche, which turns into huge team fight wins because you guys have gold advantage. And then the game ends. Game over. That's how you raise your MMR. And get better at Dota, which is more important.
Okay.
Alright, do you have any other questions before we go?
I wanted to ask you maybe a little bit about like camera speed and what you think is a good setting for it, because sometimes I keep it a little low.
How do you camera? Do you edge pan? Do you use hotkeys?
I usually edge pan.
Okay. If you edge pan, I generally think edge pan is the worst of the options. If you're edge panning, do you use legacy keys or specialized?
I use just the regular keys.
Okay. If you use regular keys, you should have a lot of space on your keyboard for keys, right?
Yes.
I don't necessarily recommend you do this, but I would say for a new player, I would recommend that they use like WASD to move their camera. Because what that allows you to do is, let's say for example, I'm trying to do a skill shot on, let's say I'm this range creep and I'm trying to skill shot this range creep. To move my camera down, if I'm chasing him, I have to take my mouse from where I want to click it, and I have to go like this. To go down, and then I have to re-precision click. If I use my keyboard instead, I can press like I'll do it on my keyboard right now. Oh, it's not working because I am in a replay instead of a spectating. But I could put my mouse here and I could push down on the arrow key or down on S, for example, and it would rotate my screen down, but my mouse would stay in the same position. So my mouse would always be where it needs to be, rather than me having to do 2 precision clicks. I could be like, see how hard that is? Like I missed a little bit when I moved my mouse back.
Which is something I definitely feel like I have trouble with.
So if you really want to, you could change your hotkeys a little bit and get used to doing that. Or you can do what S4 does. He has camera grip.
I've never even heard of that setting.
He presses his middle mouse button. Where's our camera grip hotkey? Camera grip.
It should be under
camera grip. So you can set this hotkey in the interface, and then you can go over here and do reverse camera grip. So I think I have mine set up. Let me see if it works. It does. So I don't know why it's all like wavy like that. Maybe there's some like setting for it. I feel like that should be, I don't know why that's so wavy, but then I could do something like I could press my mouse button down, and then my camera moves with how I move my mouse. I don't know why it has like this like slow thing. It should be instant, but they'll just do this thing where they just put their thing down and they like click and drag it. That way their mouse is still about in the center of the map. You can basically see like mouse, if you do that program where it tracks where your mouse moves, people that use what I just recommended, all their mouse is like in this part of the screen at all times. Whereas other players, our mouses constantly go all over the place, which means that our precision clicks are less precise.
Yeah.
If you want to get used to it, you can. Either do the camera grip and just start playing with it and get used to it. Turn off. Probably the best way to do it is, and probably the way I should do it is, if I want to get used to it, I should fucking turn off edge pan. The only way I can move my camera is either clicking on the map or doing camera grip. That's probably,
that's gonna be annoying.
It will be annoying. You're gonna mess up a lot of games, but you could probably play like 10, 15 games to get used to it, and then you just have to really jump the camera speed. Like if I jump this up massively right now, does it change my camera grip? No, that's exactly the same. I don't know what the heck, but I'm sure there's some way to fix it. What's that, like 4,500 or something? So yeah, you can do all that stuff, and then your camera movement should be a little bit better. If you're using edge pan though, just turn this number up a lot, because I generally find that the higher that this number is, it shouldn't be like insane, because then you're gonna overshoot, but it should be high enough that you don't not move it enough, because in the heat of the moment, for example, you only have so much time to move your camera. If it takes you like 2 seconds to drag down, you're missing time right clicking him or attack moving properly. If it's really fast or if it's perfectly tuned, you could just go boom, 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 constantly adjust it fast enough. So I found that when my camera speed was low, that I wasn't gathering as much information from a battle. Like if I'm fighting over here, I wouldn't have time to be like boom, boom, and jump back again. Like even this feels a little bit slow to me.
Yeah, it looks a little slow.
It might just be the frames, but like the amount of time that it takes me to move my camera, if I do it fast, I'm really not moving that far. It's only moving like 300 units. And that's really not that much. It might be better for me to do a camera grip and then turn the speed up a lot and then just jump over really fast.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of benefits in the camera grip. Because like you said, just moving the mouse all over the place, you lose precision.
Exactly. So there's lots of little stuff like that you can do to increase your game. Using hotkeys increases your MMR, but priority number one is playing Dota correctly. Those other things will make you a better Dota player and increase your chances of lowering your chances of failure or mistakes. But number one is playing Dota well. So
yeah,
you can do that other stuff, but keep in mind the Dota stuff is generally more important. So, all right, any more questions before I go?
No, that was it. Thank you. Oh, I wanted to ask, do you do like live coaching sessions as well?
Live coaching
or do you see any benefit in those, or do you think the replay analysis is more effective?
It's worse generally. There's some problems that you encounter, such as what if the game sucks? What if your ally is abandoned halfway through? Then boom, you've wasted half your time. There's lots of things like that kind of sucks about live coaching. If I'm coaching you while you're playing, sometimes you can't pay attention to it. It might make you play different. Generally, replay coaching is just more superior. You get a perfect example of what went wrong. You can take the time to break it down if you need to. If like you're playing a game, you have to play the game. I can't like pause it and be like, this is what you did wrong, and let me explain it to you fully, and let's make sure you fully understand it. You can't do that in a live game. That's the problem with doing that version. If you want to do something like that, we definitely can, but it's not as good for learning, yeah, it's just not as good for learning, and sometimes games go bad, or sometimes you get hard countered by picks. Just crap like that. That's really annoying. So it's a good way to show that you can play better, because I told you all this stuff. You won't know whether or not you played better until you actually play better. If we do it live, you could be like, oh, wow, I'm doing better this game than normal. I see that it's working. So that's one positive. There's positives and negatives about it. But generally, I think it's not as good. I think teaching somebody how to look at their own replays and to see the errors is the best skill.
Yeah, I think I've definitely learned a lot from this.
Good. Happy to hear that.
And I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for signing up. If you want any more in the future and there's no slots open, just send me a message on Skype and we can work something out. Because most of the time I have some extra time, I just block it off early just in case. Because I'm really
I noticed it was mostly on Tuesday only you do it?
No, I have a lot of trips coming up. I'm going on a vacation in like a week to the UK, so I basically blocked everything off for like 10 days, and then when I get back, I have like 2 days, 3 days until I go to ESL Manilla in the Philippines, so I didn't have any days open there because I'm probably going to be busy catching up on work or whatever, so in examples like that, I might have times, I'll easily have a couple hours here or there that I could do coaching, but I want to be able to do it like adjustable if needed. So that's why I just closed most of that stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah, in the future, I will easily have time. If I'm not traveling, I will have time to do at least like 4 hours of coaching a week, guaranteed. And if you want one of those spots, you just have to message me and we'll work something out. So
All right.
if you
Will
ever
do.
want more, just let me know, and I'm sure we can find a slot. That goes for anybody
Alright.
else watching this video, because I'll probably upload this. I think this is a really good coaching session. If anybody else wants coaching, you can just tweet at me or whatever, and I'm sure we can work something out. So, all right, any more questions before we go?
Nope. You've been very helpful.
All right, great. Well, I'm happy you learned some stuff, and if you have any more questions, just let me know on Skype. All right.
All right. Will do.
Thanks a lot. Have a
All
good
right.
day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.